Good evening to everybody. On behalf of Philosophy family, I extend a hearty welcome to all the senior teachers of philosophy and scholars of philosophy to be associated with the academic platform of Philosophy family. Um, Friends, we have accepted the noble suggestions of the senior teachers of our country in order to promote the academic exploration of the scholars of philosophy and students of philosophy for their future career. And our alumni this time has connected Miss Beauty Das, a dynamic senior PhD research fellow, Department of Philosophy, University of North Bengal, West Bengal, to be associated with us and to have her talk this time. And on this occasion, I extend my welcome and congratulations to Miss Beauty Das, the Senior Research Fellow of North Bengal University. Today, Miss Beauty Das will reflect on some issues with globalization, Kantian solution. Miss Beauty Das has already contributed some articles to the journals of national and international report. I extend my congratulations to Beauty. We have with us Professor Radhanath Behra sir, Professor Ranjit Ghosh sir, Madam Sonolata, Dr. K. Umnan Rao, and our alumni, and Professor Amita Balmiki, and others that I do not find their uh, uh, find them in screen. So I extend my congratulations to all the viewers of today's webinar. And the topic that Miss Beauty Das has chosen to speak today is a very beautiful topic, and she has worked on the era of globalization, and in the era of globalization, she finds that everything is global in character, whether it is culture, religion, ethics, and others. But the ethical framework is needed for the present time, for the process of globalization. And Miss Beauty Das has taken constant approach to face the problems of globalization, and Kant's idea of morality can be applied to find out any kind of solution, to get any kind of conclusion in contemporary ethical issues. So today, I extend my congratulations to all. I extend my gratitude to all to be associated with us. I my friend, host and convener, Dr. Pramod Kumar Das is with us, and Dr. K. Umnan Rao, the moderator, is with us. So with this, once again, I extend my congratulations and welcome to all of you. And I welcome Miss Beauty Das to explore her speech on the scheduled topic, some issues with globalization, a Kantian approach, a Kantian solution. Over to Miss Beauty Das.
Thank you, sir, for this very beautiful introduction. So, a very good evening to all the dignitaries present in this webinar session. First of all, I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude to Dr. P.K. Das sir and other dignitaries for giving me this opportunity to give a lecture here. Myself, Beauty Das, I am a senior research fellow at the Department of Philosophy, University of North Bengal. As you know that today the title of my talk is some ethical issues with globalization, a Kantian solution. So with your permission, I'm starting my discussion. So, in the contemporary world, which is known as the era of globalization, everything is global in character, whether it is religion, ethics, economy, politics, society, or culture. Globalization is the procedure that promotes interaction, integration, interdependence, and interconnectedness among people of different regions, religions, and values worldwide. This process mainly gives prominence to the field of business and technology that connects other regions globally. However, the impact of this new wave are not only confined to the socio-economical aspect but to the moral, religious, and cultural aspects as well. As this era is bringing the entire world to the peak of progress, it is also has introduced a new set of problems that mainly threaten the environmental resources and the existence of the human race. Due to this globalization paradigm, the human race is confronted with new problems. Among various issues, the most significant ethical issue is that different values and beliefs observed by human beings are immensely affected by the wave of globalization. People who belong to civil societies struggle to solve these issues set by the world community. Because unlike other communities, the world community cannot be governed by a single set of policies or rules. Hence, the formation of the global community was not guided by any exact policy statement or ethical code of conduct. This is because the idea of world community and globalization is an abstract method. The process of globalization is working to bring all 195 countries under a single umbrella of globalization. Nevertheless, it is very challenging to establish an ethical foundation for this abstract society. Setting moral or legal guidelines for this worldwide community is difficult because of the diversity of places, cultures, and religions, despite their efforts to strengthen their ties and gain exposure to other countries via trade, tourism, and other activities. In this context, it is noteworthy that in the 21st century, global proliferation has allowed people to connect with everyone. People can participate and represent themselves in front of the world community through different means such as trading, traveling, and sharing different cultures, ideas, lifestyles, etc. In this era, increased access to technology also helps people to connect with the world by breaking the barrier of space and time. Moreover, there are two important benefits of globalization, that is, free trading policies and easily accessible transportation systems, which ensure the economic advancement of the countries, which is immensely required for maintaining international relationships among developed countries. From the very start of the 21st century, it is evident that this century brings a profound social, cultural, and ideological transformations in the name of globalization. In this era, due to the benefit of the internet and social media, people can know and access everything, whether it is about the culture, religion, or ethics of different communities. This easy access to everything fosters cultural diversity, religious tolerance, access to diverse perspective, and increased ideological and cultural exchange. But these benedictions come with many negative impacts. So, before delving into the solution to these problems, we should first know what kind of ethical issues we are facing in the contemporary world. If we analyze the present time, then we find that the social, cultural, and ideological changes cause instability in the modern world community. For instance, we can see that different countries maintain different constitutional rules and different communities observe different moral or spiritual values. This causes a contradiction in the beliefs and values of different individuals in this global community. Even behind these worldwide progressions, many ethical issues needs to be addressed. And among various ethical issues, today I shall only highlight the three most crucial problems that I think we should ponder over. The first one is the value crisis. In our society, morality and religion are essential factors for the person of the respective community to preserve their values and maintain their status in the global community. Maintaining moral, religious, and cultural values is immensely important for a stable modern community. This is because moral and religious principles give people an understanding of society and customs and enable them to navigate different social and cultural phenomena, which is required for the positive development of the modern community. It is also evident that ethics and religion continually shape a person's values and behavior in the respective community. When ethical and religious dimensions are affected by different external incentives, they also affect different values observed by the people of the respective community. Similarly, in the era of worldwide progress, each society or community observes different cultural, ethical, and religious values. That is, they possess a separate understanding to assess and monitor their values and customs. However, they have to account for their views to the international community because of their exposure to the world. So, the most problematic issue raised by globalization is the contradiction between local values and global accountability. Conversely, due to modernization and technological advancements, humans are becoming machines because they have started to examine or evaluate everything mechanically in their lives, and due to this, they are forgetting their moral, religious, and cultural values. That means it leads to the loss of humanity. Now, another crucial problem is identity crisis. In this globalized world, technological advancements allow people to access everything easily. This easy access to everything leads to the possibility of an identity crisis among them. For instance, when the member of a specific community are acquainted with other communities' culture, ethics, and religion, they find contradictions between their and others' cultural, moral, and religious conceptions. Nowadays, it is apparent that in many minor or tribal cultures, their moral and spiritual values come under the threat of modernization while they try to adapt themselves to the modern world. As a result, they strive to uphold their own moral, religious, and cultural identities, which leads them toward the loss of their antique values. Now, last but not least, another important issue that I should highlight here, it is the erosion of environmental values. Undoubtedly, in the 21st century, globalization brings many positive impacts to the socio-economic sphere. However, to survive in the global competition, the excessive amount of industrial developments and transportation causes different environmental issues such as climate change, deforestation, increased greenhouse gas emissions, and habitat destruction, which are immensely harmful to the environment. These negative impacts on our environment result in nothing but a short-lived and unstable ecosystem. Hence, this erosion of environmental and human resources caused by the wave of globalization demands an ethical framework that can provide the solution to reduce these negative impacts. So, if the world community can set a common goal that can overcome these issues of the contemporary world, in this context, as a solution, I want to highlight the phrase of Maha Upanishad, that is Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, which means that one world, one family. And it mainly emphasizes the collective well-being of the world community instead of individual interest. This common goal can be achieved through the joint effort of each individual in the cross-border community to promote the idea that they are responsible and obliged to think about common ethical, religious, and cultural values for the collective well-being. So, to overcome the issues set by the global community, we need to reflect on shared values or common faith that also help us to understand contemporary society's ethical, religious, and cultural dimensions. By reflecting on this idea, people can set the foundation of their beliefs and values for the emerging global community. So now the question is, how can we execute this plan of forming a common ethical framework like Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam to mitigate the negative impacts or ethical problems raised by the method of globalization? In this context, for the execution of the common ethical framework, we should revisit Immanuel Kant's moral philosophy. That means we have to go back to the 18th century to find out the solution of the problem that emerged in the 21st century. This also indicates the fact that Immanuel Kant's critical philosophy bears a far-reaching impact even today. So, in the present venture, it is noteworthy that the wave of globalization does not have a precise ethical code of conduct that may assume accountability for any ethical difficulties. This indicates that globalization is beyond the scope of human navigation. In the 21st century, it is also evident that humans are facing different common problems in the world community, such as environmental and human issues caused by scientific and technological developments. However, these common issues can be overcome through a standard solution. This talk solution must be based on shared ethical values. However, a moot question is it possible to maintain a shared moral framework? This question arises because there is apparent diversity among ethical values. Different cultures or societies hold different ethical values. That means ethical values vary socially and culturally. Setting a common ethical framework for the world community is problematic in that case. However, a shared moral framework is needed for the century, so we must look for the convergence among different values. We can pick common values from different societies or cultures to set a common ethical framework for the global community. And this will be possible if we adopt Kant's notion of morality in our day-to-day lives. Here, I want to illustrate Kant's conception of morality that will help us to understand the nature of this solution, what we are talking about, which we are looking for. Through his entire transcendental critical philosophy, Kant highlights that humans are the only species in this cosmos capable of the extraordinary power of reason. This faculty of reason governs our knowledge system and our ability to judge actions and behaviors. That means the faculty of reason possessed by humans helps them to constitute their nature by improving their values. Kant, in his moral philosophy, intends to show us that human beings are not merely rational. Instead, they are moral beings as well. In the Critique of Practical Reason and in the groundwork of Metaphysics of Morals, Kant explains the moral nature of human beings. There, he is immensely concerned about human actions because this is the parameter through which we can evaluate the moral worth of human beings. According to him, an action can only be moral if it is carried out only out of obligation or duty, without falling under any sense of inclination, desire, happiness, etc. This sense of duty comes from our inner goodwill prescribed by our practical reasoning capacity. Our goodwill stimulates the reverence for moral laws by making us aware of our duties to ourselves and also to others. But now the question is, what kind of moral laws are prescribed by our reasoning faculty that make human beings worthwhile? In this context, Kant introduces his conception of the categorical imperative. Through the idea of the categorical imperative, Kant intends to show us that when humans act solely for the sake of duty, then on that note, their actions will be moral. These duties or obligations must be categorical by nature. That means humans should perform their duties without falling under any conditions. To clarify this conception of Kant, I can give two instances. And the first one is, if you want to become a popular political leader, then never commit corruption. If we look into this example, then it is apparent that the maxim or rule used behind this action is an if-then maxim, which means the rule behind this action is not categorical or unconditional. This action will be done out of the hypothetical imperative where someone will act out of the intention of gaining popularity. Kant considers such action as immoral. And now the second example is, as a political leader, it is your duty not to commit corruption. In this example, the maxim behind this action is purely categorical because that action can be performed without falling under any condition. This action will be done solely out of the sense of duty and nothing else. And this action is considered as moral. Here, Kant's categorical imperative is known as the supreme principle of morality. He considers this idea of categorical imperative as the supreme principle of morality. Now, I would like to illuminate the three expressions of the supreme principle of morality, which are immensely important for our present concern. These three expressions help us to evaluate the moral worth of human action. So, the first expression is act only in accordance with that maxim through which you can at the same time will that it become a universal law. This expression of categorical imperative is called the formula of universal law. According to this formula, an action will be moral when the agent wishes that action to be a universal law. For instance, if someone believes in the maxim of telling the truth and wants the act of telling the truth will become a universal law, and if everyone adopts this maxim, then in that case it will be considered moral. So now the second expression is, so act that you use humanity whether in your own person or in the person of any other, always at the same time as an end, never merely as a means. This expression is called the formula of humanity. By providing this formulation, Kant intends to mean that humans as rational beings are end in themselves. That means humans are the sole creatures of this world who possess a reasoning faculty that prescribes laws for their actions and also to the faculty itself so that it can evaluate and update itself for different situations. Due to this self-legislative future, Kant considers human beings as an end in themselves. And just because humans share a common nature with each other, they are valuable. This is the cause humans should respect themselves and each other and never use others or themselves as a tool to achieve a certain objective or for personal advantage. Through this formulation, Kant mainly intends to highlight the reverence for humanity. Now, after this, the last expression or the third expression is act only so that the will could regard itself as at the same time giving universal law through its maxim. This third expression is known as the formula of autonomy. Through this formulation, Kant shows us that our reasoning capacity prescribes laws to us. However, ultimately, we have free will through which we can choose the maxim for our actions. That means the choice which maxim is suitable for our action or not is up to us. The rightness and wrongness of every action mainly depended on the doer's intention behind that action. Some actions may be performed under the intention of inclination and some of intention of duty. However, it is entirely up to human beings which one they will choose. Due to this, Kant also considers humans as autonomous beings. Here, through the third formulation, Kant intends to mean that autonomous should consider the maxims before interpreting it as a universal law. Now, after illustrating all these expressions of the supreme principle of morality, Kant introduces his conception of the kingdom of ends or ethical community. This idea of Kant will help us to set a common ethical framework to mitigate different ethical issues caused by globalization. In this context, Kant states that by kingdom, I mean the orderly community of different rational beings under a common law. After a detailed explanation of the Kantian conception of morality, it seems a little easier to understand what Kant mean by the term kingdom of ends or ethical community. A kingdom of ends or an ethical community should be a kingdom of rational human beings or the ethical community of rational human beings. However, the question is this ethical community accessible to all human beings? To my mind, the response will be no. Then the question is, why is this kingdom or this ethical community not for all human beings? To find the answer to this question, we should first know what can mean by the idea of kingdom of ends or ethical community. In the book 3 of Religion Within the Boundaries of Mere Reason, Kant intends to shows us that the primary goal of morality is to attain the highest good. Here, by the term highest good, Kant intends to mean that the equitable distribution of happiness based on the moral values of human beings. Thus, the degree of happiness is determined by the moral standard. That means what you do is what you get. So, for the achievement of the highest good, at first you should be moral. However, it is noteworthy that by the term highest good, Kant never meant individual happiness. Rather, he intended to mean the collective happiness. Achieving the highest good is the collective endeavor of the people of the ethical community. That is, the unity of all rational moral beings striving toward the same goal. That means the highest good cannot be achieved by a single individual working alone to improve themselves morally. Instead, people can accomplish this through the collective endeavor of all human beings by improving their moral worth. This collaborative endeavor for the highest good is necessary to erode the origins of social evil and the formation of the ethical community. Moreover, Kant suggests that the ideal ethical community is governed by a set of public moral laws that are universally valid. In the ethical community, every individual comes under and must obey these universally valid general laws. So, by working collectively, humans can improve their moral worth and they can get access to or can build the ethical community or the kingdom of ends. Here, I think we have found a standard remedy to the common problem raised in the modern world. Now, the question is, how can Kant's idea of an ethical community help us as a solution to the problem caused by the age of globalization? In this context, we can say that different ethical issues set by the method of globalization are common by nature. And to overcome these issues, we have to develop a common ethical framework for the age of globalization. As we have seen, Immanuel Kant also suggests a moral community where each individual works collectively for the betterment of themselves and the community. Similarly, in the age of globalization, if different members think about each other's dignity and religious values, we believe that through this means we can overcome these global issues collectively. In a different vein, in the case of environmental problems, we should think about our environment, our home where we live. The progress of the nation and the world is necessary, but not by harming natural resources, destroying our habitats, or destroying humanity. Hence, if we consider Kant's idea of ethical community, we can find that by applying their rational ability, human beings can enhance their moral nature, which helps them to find unity among diversity. If we can strengthen our rational ability, then this will allow us to build our moral thinking so that we can feel obligated to ourselves and other organisms around us. Suppose we can enhance our moral nature with a sense of duty or obligation. In that case, it will be easy for us to overcome different ethical issues that emerge through the method of globalization. That means before changing the world, we have to change ourselves. We have to strengthen our intrinsic rational and moral nature. And by doing this, we can constitute the ideal world community where there will be no scope for any ethical problems. So now we have reached to the end of this topic, and as a concluding remark, it can be said that the wave of globalization may be profitable for some, but not for all. Worldwide progression may benefit economically developed countries, information technology sectors. However, its negative impacts also affect traditional livelihoods in agriculture, rural urban inequalities, economic inequality between rich and poor, rural unemployment, and many more. Though the positive impacts of global proliferation are huge, but its detrimental effects cannot be disregarded. And as mentioned, the globalizing process lacks a formalized policy statement or ethical foundation. But being a part of the global community, it is our duty to set a common ethical framework collaboratively by keeping the dignity of the entire human race and the intrinsic value of our environment in mind. Hence, the moral of the story is if we go with Kant's view, then we can say that development is okay when it is universal. But particular development always comes with negative impacts. For instance, we can say that it is evident that globalization is always more beneficial for developed countries rather than developing countries like us. That means we should set our goal for universal good over particular gains. So, worldwide growth is required to survive in the contemporary world. But we must deal with this progression cautiously. We need to reduce the negative impacts of globalization by setting this common ethical policy. This common ethical framework is nothing but to enhance the sense of unconditional reverence for morality in each human beings in order to handle all the direct and indirect predicaments given by the modern world. This common ethical framework will help us to mitigate the negative impacts of globalization by finding an alternative way. This solution will work effectively solely when we can utilize our reasoning capacity properly and enhance our unconditional moral nature by working on it collectively. So, after enhancing the sense of obligation in each human beings, they will definitely think rationally about every species, which promote positive universal growth and improvement of the global society. Hence, if we follow this common Kantian ethical framework, we can mitigate different ethical issues caused by globalization. That means we must collectively strengthen our inner moral qualities to implement common ethical framework like Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam or collective well-being, so that we can preserve our ethical, religious, cultural, or natural values in the era of global exposure. Thank you.
Hmm. Thank you. Well, I don't find Colaster is uh, finding himself here. But anyway, so I thank the speaker for making an attempt to apply the Kantian ethics to the problems arising out of globalization. I think it's a very good attempt, and well, she has made an entry to this issue, and well, we'll come across many things during the course of the discussion, and many things can be done by the scholar to improve on her paper. Well, we start with Dr. Ranjit Ghosh, sir. He's on the screen. Namaskar, sir. Please, your views, and then we'll move to Dr. Alap Tandon, sir. Well, Ranjit Ghosh, sir. Sir, please.
Uh, Thank you, Dr. Rao. Now, Ms. Das has given has made a rather moral appeal with Kant to find out the solution to the onslaught of globalization, what we are suffering at this age. So the way she brought the Kantian ethics in this framework, I find that this will just remain a moral appeal that in order to mitigate the problems that we are finding in globalization. Now, why this is so? You see, we can say globalization, we can divide, there are many other classifications, of course, but I want to bring one classification that is the capitalist globalization and socialist globalization. Now, you see, this capitalist globalization, which otherwise is known as, you see, LPG, liberalization, privatization, and then globalization. These things will not accommodate, cannot be accommodated within the Kantian framework. Okay, because you see, Kant was against modernity and even postmodernism. Kant was against modernism and postmodernism. And globalization, as said by some, is an extension of modernism and postmodernism. Now, I think the capitalist globalization is to be checked somehow, and which is having economic implications. And unless that is there, the globalization will always be a type of bane for the modern society, and not will be, it will never be a boon. Because you see, what we want a socialist globalization. A globalization, and the capitalist globalization is a globalization from above. That means we have to be within it because of the economic the activities and requirements that every nation has. But globalization from below is the socialist globalization, which looks into the human rights, the human dignity, and all these things, the environmental protection. So all these things will come under the Kantian framework that you are trying to suggest at some point of time. Now, the thing is that to bring the categorical imperative and its implications to highlight the premises of globalization will not do, because those things will remain as just a moral appeal. You see what the global society demands. Global society demands, let us take 2-3 values like caring, sharing, and integrity, as you are talking about the corruption, to end a society free from corruption. So all these things are there in the framework of a global society. But the thing is, can this be actually practiced? Because you see, before caring and sharing and integrity, all these which operate at the personal level in our interpersonal relationship, the main problem comes from the globalization from above. That is the capitalist globalization, which requires a homogenization. That means that homogenization kills the cultural plurality, the human, the appeal to the human dignity. So if Kant is to be accepted, we can put Kant within the globalization from below. But our problem starts with, and it still prevails with, the globalization from above. That is capitalist globalization. You have to bring certain ways the categorical imperative that it is an universal principle. It should be followed, that we are all member of the kingdom of men. So these are Kantian philosophy is an idealistic philosophy. It's a philosophy of idealism. So you see that idealism is there in all of us, but the practical reality is that we are facing will not be solved by that. So Kantian ethics can just be a moral appeal to solve the problems of globalization. So you try to think in that line, and you can, if you have you want to respond, please respond. Thank you.
Yes, please unmute. Please unmute. Yes.
Sorry.
Yes.
Thank you, sir, for your observation, and I should definitely think over it, and it's really valuable for me. So thank you, sir.
Okay. So the point raised by Dr. Ghosh is really praiseworthy, because the globalization that we have is a capitalistic globalization, and it may not serve well. Globalization is not bad, but if it serves the local interest, then it would maybe somehow it may accommodate to the framework of Kant that you talk of, but maybe that is not happening. Well, we'll come up with different views, and we'll have a discussion on this. Well, let us move to Dr. Alok Tandon sir to have his views. We'll come to the point that Dr. Ghosh has raised, and we'll carry on that further. Well, we'll listen to Alok Tandon sir's views. Sir, namaskar, sir. Please. Dr. Tandon.
Dr. Rao,
Sir, yes, sir. Sunai de Rai, sir. Please, sir. Namaskar,
kindly
sir.
give me 5 minutes. I am on the crossing and there is a jam by Kawar Yatra people.
Okay,
It's very
okay, okay.
difficult now.
I'll come
So
back to you. I'll come back to you. I'll come back
come
to you.
back after, I will, and it's raining also started. So give me 5 minutes
Okay,
so that I may reach a safe place. Then I will come. Okay.
okay. I'll come back to you, sir. I'll come back to you. Well, we have with us.
Dr. Rao,
Yes,
let Dr. Tandon come, because he is also work on this issue.
yes,
We'll be listening to him.
yes.
Now, I will suggest rather to Ms. Das that we have to think in that line, that globalization, it should not override local and national. We should not think that the process is from local to national, from national to global. It is not that. Now the thing is, it is primarily during the beginning of the millennia, it started as an economic concept, and only that liberalization, privatization issue, that is that has created a problem for this. Because you see, as the books, I should say, mm, uh, I'm not, it's not coming to my mind right now. Anyway, so the thing is that if we try to bring globalization as something which will generate democratic values, or the human dignity, or the environmental things, so those things are all wrong, totally wrong, because they are, the globalization has brought total disasters. You see, large scale multinational companies that's coming, and in the process we find, and in you see that in the name of development, the development, what is the paradigm that globalization follows? The paradigm of development. Now, development is a very problematic issue. There is the controversy between development and environment, because when you pursue development, the environment is at stake. So these things are coming. You see, you have heard about many large atomic plants and all other things which they emerged due to the process of globalization, and they have created and brought more problems for the Indian society, for the society at large, in all the societies, I should say, than any benefit. So you
Yes, sir.
see, we try take one sector, that is tourism. We want to make tourism a global thing. So in the process, what we are witnessing these days, all these you see Uttarakhand, you see all the tourist spots in the name of this development of tourism, we are destroying the environment.
Yes, sir.
When the Tehri Dam project started, all the social activists and the environmentalists, they said that there should not be such a large dam, because it will not only create problem for the environment, it will bring all sorts of drudgeries for the human, for the people around it. So that has become, you see the tunnel that has been made, Atal tunnel, what it has done, it brought more problem than solution to the society. So all these things we have to take into account. So that's why we have the appeal you have made with the help of Kant is definitely good. I also subscribe to this caring and sharing, and this respect of dignity and all these things should be there. But the thing is, we have to tackle the onslaught of capitalist globalization, because you see, before the globalized world, now as you can say that as man cannot but be rational, similarly during modern time you say man cannot but be global, because that is the issue, that we cannot escape globalization. I have worked on globalization for some time, and I was thinking that whether this menace of globalization can go from our life. It cannot go. We have already entered into the trap, and humanity is within that trap, and we have to find out some solutions out of it. But what, as philosophers, we can do? You have rightly brought Kant, because you want to think that we are all member of the kingdom of ends, but that is not the thing. We always try to treat every individual as a means to our end, not to the end, never as end in themselves.
Yes, sir.
So,
Yes, sir.
yes. Thank you. I was just taking this time to fill up the. Thank you.
Yes,
Thank
sir. The globalization is like a slippery slope from
Yeah,
where
yeah.
we. So
Excuse me.
globalization is like a slippery slope from where we cannot escape from.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Thanks.
Well, Dr. Tandon, I find him on the screen now. He's fine. I think uh, no problem.
Dr. Rao, thank you
Back,
very much
background
for
noises.
waiting.
Namaskar, sir. Namaskar,
Actually,
please, sir.
yeah, it has started raining, so I was on my evening walk, and the problem. Okay, but I like the idea since I was criticizing uh, in the annual session of philosophy family that you are not taking up the uh, current issues. So this time we have chosen a person to speak on globalization. So this is not a very new topic, but still, this is something very, very realistic. The world we are living in, as Professor Ranjit Ghosh has said, that is a world of capitalist globalization. So what does it mean? It simply means that with the help of information and communication technologies, time and space have been compressed. And now, financial finance money can move across very, very swiftly. But it has not changed the actual framework of economic uh, dealings in the society. It is still for the profit of capitalists, and as Ranjit Ghosh sir has suggested, it is also for the multinational corporations. So, what why we say that multinational corporations are now dominating even the nation states. So, this is the new socio-economic reality which we are facing. Now, what Ms. Das has said that it is having so many problems, no doubt. So, first, those problems I am not talking about. That are old problems of inequalities in the society, which come with the capitalist development. Some people become richer, and some gap is very much increased between rich and the poor. But what I want to point out, and what she has taken up, and beautifully taken up, the 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 crisis of identity. What she is saying, that is the crisis of identity. But what is that? That crisis of identity, we must refer to the work of Michael Walzer, the well-known political philosopher, who has given it a name. Is that is the ethnic globalization paradox. This is the paradox that as much as we proceed on globalization, what happens? The ethnic communities, they come forward and they feel so insecure about their identities that they try to resist with their uh, ethnic and religious identities, and this way a new area of conflict in the world has emerged, and that you can see very well in what is happening in Middle East, in India, in Southeast Asia, everywhere. These religious ethnic groups, they are trying to assert their identities and to force the globalized system, whatever economic system it is, to their own pre-modern uh, needs, desires, and ambitions. So now, unless and until we understand this process of identity formation, identity assertion, and its relationship with politics of the country, we cannot deal it with it only with the uh, a moral perspective of Kant. This is uh, this is what I did in my research in my last book, which was rewarded in IPC. That this idea of cultural identity, that has become very, very powerful because of the globalization and globalized modernity, I must say. The local communities, the old communities, the power structure of those communities, they felt very much insecure. And they went back to their old affiliations of religion, caste, and culture. So now the problem is that people of different cultures are facing each other. in a globalized community or globalized world, people are moving. And they are, you can see in America or in other countries, immigration is taking place. People from different cultural backgrounds are coming together. But that is not a harmonious process. What we are facing is the reaffirmation of old conflicts. So, what is the solution? So, in political philosophy, they think that ethical way of looking at things will not work. As Professor Ghosh has said, that remains only at the moral appeal level. What we need is a new cultural framework, and that framework uh, has been classified in various ways. I am making it very short. That some people suggested a sort of, you can say, assimilation, that is called the melting pot theory of America. Then there was multiculturalism that came from Charles Taylor and Canada. Then there is other thinkers that talk about interculturalism, and ultimately my suggestion and my argument was in favor of transculturalism. Here, there is no time to go into all that, but we know that with all these models, we have got many problems. But these are the some efforts to deal with this paradox of globalization, in which economic political globalization is taking place and giving rise to many types of religious cultural conflicts. Even in 5 minutes back, I was passing through the lane and I saw a big procession of Kavadiyas. They every day they pass from 50 meters from my residence. So why such increase? So unless and until we understand the resistance in these communities, they are mainly pre-modern communities, and try to understand how this globalization can be made more justice oriented, more cultural sensitive to the local cultures, and more open to other cultures without having any sort of antagonism and hatred. So these are the very big problems which are emerging every day, not and in our place just before our eyes. So I think the idea of Kant is very, as it was said, that very idealistic. But we don't treat others as end in themselves. Being a scholar of Sartre, I know that he said in his first book that hell is other people. So the problem is ultimately he changed his view, but to bring out a sort of reciprocity, we need to change the political economic structure. Only an appeal to morality doesn't work. Now the question will come how this resistance can be mobilized. And in that process, I think some sort of ethical orientation, whether coming from Kant, coming from Gandhi, coming from any other source, those who believe in some sort of justice will be helpful, and that will be motivating to bring about a change in the world. So, thank you very much for giving me a little time, and I must congratulate the lady for attempting this issue, because it was discussed, I think, 25 years back when globalization was very nascent. And then we found that there is no ethical framework behind this globalization process. And if we want to inject any sort of ethical framework, then we will have to face and tackle the enormous power of multinational corporations and economic power of capitalists and the nation state, which are very much having their you can say in collaboration with them. So it's not an easy joke now, and we are all suffering. But uh, we must look for the alternatives, and that is, I think, very much praiseworthy. So I will expect Ms. Das to have a little critical appreciation and evaluation of Kant's ethics in this era of globalization. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your valuable suggestions. And I will definitely think about this. And it is really a serious problem that we are facing today. And as Professor Ranjit Ghosh sir said, and as you said, that Kantian philosophy or Kantian morality is really an idealistic approach, and we can, if we are going to find any solution, any ethical solution of such problems that we are facing today with the help of Kantian moral philosophy, then we find difficulties, because this philosophy or this conception of morality is lacking its practical basis or practicality. So I think this is a difficulty that we are facing in case of Kant's philosophy. So thank you so much for your suggestion. I will definitely think about this.
Thank you, due to the scholar who has presented the paper. Well, a good attempt. Well, listening to Dr. Ghosh and Dr. Tandon, well, when we talk of globalization, we think of the capitalist economy. And in that structure, what comes to fore is the economic sense. There, the social sense, the moral sense is totally lost. There is a war for, there is a competition, there is a cutthroat competition for doing well and reaching larger and larger markets at the cost of the locals. That's why there is a tussle between the multinationals and the local producers, and that is happening. And in the name of, you see, you say globalization, but it is not globalization. It is bringing not only economic disparity, it is bringing lot of social discrimination. As Dr. Ghosh has pointed out, there is a lot of imbalance, economic imbalance, and the poor, they are getting still poorer. So this idea of globalization, that's why Dr. Ghosh has pointed out, it needs to have a socialist framework, not an economic framework, because under this sort of globalization, the sufferers are suffering more and more, and already the developed people or the higher sections of the society or the richer sections of the society, they are benefited, and this is bringing about a lot of discrimination. So there is globalization, but it is bringing about lot of division, lot of inequalities. Now the framework that you want to apply is a moral framework to this globalized structure, which is largely economic, and problems arise because not only when you talk, you try to say the entire world is a family, but how do we take that? Because when we talk of globalization, we are not talking of a nation where there is some sort of cultural connectivity. But when we talk of
Yes.
globalization, we are coming cross cultures, different parts of the world, they have different cultures. Now
Yes.
their moral framework differs, their number of things, you see, the total social framework, the social laws, norms, and the cultural frameworks differ. So under that situation, applying a model, okay, the Kantian model, well, it's a model, but when we talk of a global community, okay, this moral, you see, one thing that comes to mind, We can talk of economic globalization. Well, we may talk, but can we talk of moral globalization? Can we talk of, can we have a framework that is called moral globalization? Maybe that is not there because of the cross cultural differences. We cannot. It is not possible. Well,
Yes.
like so, with this, let us move to Dr. Amita Valmiki, madam, to have her words, and then I come back again to this issue.
Extremely thankful to you,
Namaskar,
sir,
madam.
Ram sir, for giving me this opportunity. I am really so happy. Kant is one of my favorite philosophers. And when I heard that this topic is going to be presented, and especially the solution to the globalization from Kantian angle, um, um, Ms. Das, it was fantastic. I enjoyed every bit of it. And you put it in such a systematic and orderly manner that it is a thorough research paper. I congratulate you, and I'm so happy with this. But Kant has
Thank you,
always
ma'am.
been so bewitching. He is always very attractive, and he convinces to the core of your heart. That is very true. The only problem with Kantian is that the negligence of subjective element. I find that a celebration of subjectivity is not found in Kant. Me as an individual, first, and another major problem that arises, there are three. First of all, three issues which are related with the topic which you discussed. One is that the subjectivity is being denied. No respect to individual freedom of will. Second, which aspect in relation to globalization and Kantian solution is that um, he doesn't talk about the particular situation. He talks generally speaking that how we are going to maintain peace and harmony. For me, he's an ideal. He's perfect. He's really very good. Ideally speaking, his solutions are perfect, and especially his categorical imperative is really too good. It's not for God's sake that you are performing your duty. You are performing because you are a human being. You are supposed to perform. So this is very good. But unfortunately, with Grant, he's too stringent about everything. um, what was the problem with communism or socialism in general when practiced? A socialist element is probably somehow or the other thinking of happiness of the people. They become a sort of dictators. They become so powerful that for happiness of others, individual happiness is completely sacrificed. And that happened, it was rampant in Soviet Union, former Soviet Union, and it's happening in communist countries like North Korea, for example, which is trying to give a common moral framework for all. And in the implementation of that moral common framework in China, for example, that you suppress the individual voice. And the graffitis which I saw today, what happened in Bangladesh, at what is happening in Bangladesh, it is so potent. I found that students have so much of power, and the graffiti that they have drawn on the road, the central road of Dhaka, um, it is like providing solution to the problem of globalization. And that is how dictatorship can dominate in a garb of, in a mask of saying that we are giving a moral framework for society for all to be happy. Now this element scares me. And lastly, in a given situation, what are you supposed to do? Are Russians right or Ukrainians right? Are Palestinians right or the Jews are right? Are Latin American right, or maybe the ruling parties are right? So where do you stand? Who is going to be given the measure stick? Who is given the, so we will say, generally speaking, in moral philosophy we usually say the ethos of the people. But again, ethos of the people is individuals, human beings, and that again creates problem. These are the three main issues: the subjectivity, um, secondly the form of dictatorship, and the third form, which as I told you, in a given situation Kant has no solution, that who is right and who is wrong. And that kind of thing requires, I think, primitive humanism. That is the best version, which he mentions, which Karl Marx mentions in Communist Manifesto, that he talks about primitive communism, and then how later feudalism and all type of capitalism and this developed. But primitive communism was like not using anything. Whatever was gained by one person in a community, in a clan, was shared by all. And this irrespective of who you are. And जो भी शिकार मिलता था, for example, they were distributing among all. And it was not my or yours, but I am because you are, like the Ubuntu of South African religion, that is ethnic religion says. You know, they believe that I am because you are. This concept of globalized thing has to be developed by Kant. And still, I love Kant, and I love you very much. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your observations.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank
And
you.
by the way, you are beauty, so I love you very much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Amita Madam. Nice things that you have pointed. One thing towards the end that you have pointed out, that we should go back again to the ages, where the concern is not the individual, the concern is the entire community or the society in which we live. So that is again a good thing to take, but very difficult, but still possible. So maybe towards the end of maybe towards the end of the civilization, maybe we will come back to that stage. I don't know. But now, if we try to apply Kant, what I I take globalization or any other issue aside. But if we look at Kant in the idealistic framework, and when we bring in again, suppose say globalization, and we want to apply globally the Kantian framework, we need to understand the cross cultural differences, and having an understanding of these cross cultural differences, how effectively these ideals can be applied to the specific cultures. If that can be found out, maybe Kant would find an applicability to address to the issues of globalization. So there is no problem with globalization, or there is no problem with the idealistic framework of Kant. But the thing that we need to find out is how can those models be made effective at the stage or the levels of different cultures, and be applied effectively. If we can find out a model to apply these models, the ideal models, at the local levels, having different cultures, different shapes, different patterns, different behaviors. So if we can find out, maybe this attempt would be really be meaningful. That's my take. Thank you.
Dr. Rao,
Yes,
I
sir.
think I have to mention this so that Ms. Das can think over it. Now, you see, globalization is these days expressed through many slogans. Now, take one thing, think global and act global, act local. Now, if you put it into our philosophical discussion, if we act local and if we think global, then they are confronting each other. Because you see, local is the
Yes.
ground reality and
Yes.
global is the ideal. And
Yes.
therefore, this is a slogan. So many such slogans are there associated with globalization, which are not actually practicable in our day-to-day existence. Because all the thing is, globalization has created a havoc. It has made rich more richer and poor more poor. So that is
Yes.
why economic aspects of globalization is more important. the environmental aspects of the world, the planet is more important so far as globalization is concerned. Now, in this connection, since you are working on it and you are a research scholar, I would rather suggest you to work more on that particular issue. I was thinking sometime or other on this issue that you have also mentioned Maha Upanishadic concept that Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. And
Yes.
Vasudhaiva, it would have been better instead of bringing Kant, you could enlighten us on certain issues on this, the Maha Upanishadic concept and the globalization.
Yes.
So if you have
Yes.
not worked on it, you try to work more on it so that you can,
Definitely, sir.
and you can in future present a paper on it. So that will be
Okay, sir.
more better for all of us. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, thank you. Well, one thing comes from Dr. Ghosh's assertion: think globally, act locally. Now the slogan has come: local for global. Local for global. This made in India or Make in India initiative. Make in India initiative is trying for the indigenous or the local skills to be perfected and be brought in to be used to be exported to the global markets. Now things are happening this way too, local for global. So efforts have been made. Well, the thought is there: think globally, act locally. But now the efforts in the economic sense that is also coming up. That our local industries, local products, cottage industries, semi-skilled industries, they should come up, try to come up with new products, the local products, and the government is also providing a support to them to make it global. So that way also things are moving. Maybe you can even think of how card would be helpful both the ways. I don't know. Thank you.
Okay, sir.
Well,
Uh,
yes,
Dr. Rao,
Dr. Tandon, please, sir, please.
no, not much, but what you are saying is correct. And new concept which is being used to explain and understand this phenomena is not globalization. It is globalization in the uh, journals of social science, and especially those social scientists who have studied globalization in countries like India, they now think in terms of globalization. So the question has become even more complex. Because of this, certain local products, indigenous skills, all these things are being exported for the global market. And this way, these people are getting recognition, money, and they are also being supported by the governments. But that relationship between global and local is still asymmetrical. So the whole idea of earning profit, whether from the products coming from outside or the products of local markets being exported to the global market, the whole idea is the idea of profit. That is the cornerstone of capitalist framework. So unless and until that is broken, registered, changed, transformed, this whole ethical framework remains powerless. So we need some new type of politics, not only ethics. And if we relate it even to Kant, so Kant is a cosmopolitan thinker. He's not in favor of these nation states. So that unless until we bring out a cosmopolitan political order, that ethics of Kant cannot be practiced. So I think these are the things which are to be taken into consideration when we talk about globalization in our current era. And another thing which I wanted to point out, and this was uh, the issue of culture has become very important. Not only the economics, that what I said according to Walger and in my own study also. So unless and until we have another idea of culture, we have got two ideas of culture. One is very essentialistic, and another is very historical. So this discovery view of culture, in which we talk about various Upanishads, Bible, Quran, etc., and bring out some sort of essentialistic reading of them that makes people very rigid, very difficult to change, and inhospitable to other communities. So we have to look into the idea of culture in globalization also, and think about culture in a different perspective. The whole talk about Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam is very, very hypocritical. Those who talk about Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, they also talk about the superiority of their own cultures, texts. So how can in a in a in a in a kutumb, in a parivar, in a family, when you can ignore, you can neglect, you can degrade other cultures. So not going into that political agenda, but to understand that reaction to globalization in these countries, we need to understand that culture, philosophically, sociologically, historically, how it changes and how it can be changed to make others, culturally others, uh, into a global community. So I think the globalization has made many, thrown up many challenges, not only in economic front, but it's also on the cultural, political, ethical, all fronts. And they have to be taken up with, uh, with another framework which can cover all these things or separately. What Professor Amitabh Balmiki was criticizing socialist globalization or whatever it was is correct. But this does not mean that we cannot make another alternative framework to counter this capitalist globalization. That old Soviet model, Russian model, the Chinese model, they were all created in reaction to capitalism of that time. But the new global and global capitalism, we must say, is somewhat very, very much different. So we need to think about another type of socialist alternative, or if you don't want to say socialist word, but still you have to combine the idea of freedom of the individual with that of the social justice. So unless and until we come out with some new sort of ideology, which is no doubt inspired by the morality of Kant or any other great thinker, but that requires a more thick concept of political alternative. Kant is, Mitaji said very correctly, it is a very thin concept and it's a very rational one. You, we are not so rational. That is my own understanding. And to let rationality prevail, we need some other groundwork to be done. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Connection, I would like to suggest one thing what Dr. Tandon has said. That is again a paradox. Whether we want economic homogenization or a cultural pluralism, a society with a pluralistic society. Because you see, the idea of globalization. And one thing, though, in this connection, as it is coming to my mind, that Vivekananda was a philosopher who has brought this sort of spiritual globalization. So I have worked on it some time back, long back. So Vivekananda's way of putting the Indian culture before the others is known as a type of spiritual globalization. So many faceted. Globalization is many faceted, and it is associated with all, all the problems. It is full of problems, problematics. So you have to keep in mind, since you are why I am bringing all these things, because you are a research scholar and you are working on it. You should see the many faceted dimensions of globalization and its
Yes.
relationship with Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam or others as. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Tandon. Thank you, Dr. Ghosh. Well, um, one thing from Dr. Tandon's take, when he looked at local, the idea of local in the slogan "local for global," he took even in the name of local, entire capitalistic structure is involved. That is, local is not truly local. So that is the point to be noted. That's the important point to be noted. Is it really local? Because even in the framework of local to global, the capitalistic involvement is immense. So this is a good take, and that should be noted. That's the only submission that I made. Well, thank you, Dr. Ghosh, Dr. Tandon. Well, let us move to Radhanath Bera sir, then to our admin and also Kailash Das sir. Radhanath Bera sir. Well, our admin is at the last. He will make final comments. Okay. So, Radhanath Bera sir, he's there with us. Namaskar sir, please. Yes sir, please. Yes sir, Dr. Behra. Yes sir, you have unmuted but not speaking. You have unmuted one set and maybe you are speaking on the other. I don't know. Yes, yes, sir. I could see you. Plus, sir, please, sir. Sir, you are speaking but not audible, sir. Sir, not audible. Is it audible? Is it audible? Participants, is it audible? Am I audible? He is not audible. Sir,
It's
you are
not
not
audible.
audible. Sir, you are not audible. Sir, you are not at all audible. Sir, you are not audible. Well, we'll come back to Dr. Behra. Well, he has left the meeting anyway. Dr. Das, would you like to say something? Well, Kailash sir wanted to say something. Let us listen to what he wants to say. Dr. Maharana.
No, no. Actually, I will speak in the way of
And
what
towards
would
the
be
end,
both
you'll
of
speak.
them.
Towards the end, you'll speak. Well, Dr. Das. Dr. Das, please. Dr. Behra has left.
Thank
Maybe.
you, Dr. Rao. Hello, am I audible?
Sir, very low, sir.
Am I now audible,
Now
sir?
audible, now audible, now audible. Huh.
Okay,
Audible, audible.
okay. I find no problem in the topic chosen by the young scholar, Miss Das. And I agree with the Professor Amita Balpik Madam, who supported and encouraged the scholar, giving some pertinent points in her favor. We should understand what actually globalization is. Don't we, take it so in very wide sense. If Vasundhaiva Kutumbakam, let us start from our own Kutumba, our own family. What is a family concept? In a family, in a joint family, there is grandfather, grandmother, cousins, But when there is a nuclear family, there is only husband, wife, and child. So why do we fail to live together in a joint family? Globalization fails there only. We fail in our locality to live globally. So globalization is a mindset. It starts from the human mind. So what Immanuel Kant is speaking about human character. If we say that we are so rational, why not? Man is a rational animal. We should be rational. If not yet, then when? When we will become rational? If we so there are two models of ethics, either Kantian or non-Kantian, not the third way. Either deontologically you will follow the ethical rules, or you will follow the contextually. If we follow the contextual rules, then there is no question of globalization. If we follow only the deontological principles, then there is a question for globalization or not. Or there is no discussion about globalization. If you do not have any common ethics, if you do not have a common goal, if you do not have a common feelings, then there is no question of a globalization at all. If all the family is disturbed and all the sons are there living separately and they don't take care of their old parents, their globalization fails. Our globalization fails in our college, in our university, in our local society, in our community. We are different. So that is only because of the crisis in human thinking, human character. We should be globalized in mindset. That Immanuel Kant is saying. Should a man be treated as a means? Can any country will accept this? Should accept this? Should we treat anybody as a means? Whether it is how far it is practical or not, that's a separate thing. First fix of the principle. Then we shall think of the practice. If you do not have any principle, if you are just jumping from this principle to that principle, then we stand nowhere. We have no some ground to stand somewhere with a principle. So Immanuel Kant is speaking about the ground root of morality, that what are the basic principles. That globalization means the universalization. That should be a universal principle. And Immanuel Kant is saying that let us find there will be diversity. There will be cultural diversity. There will be many types of diversity. It's natural. But when we are talking about the unity of diversity, there we are talking about the universalization. In what points you are diverse from each other, don't discuss. Let us discuss in which points you can stand together. If there are some points where we can stand together, that is the meaningful globalization. Differences will be there, it's natural. In a family also differences will be there. But in which point you can stand together? That is the sense of equality. Equality means that only. The equality does not mean that in all spheres you will be mathematically equal. That a plus b is whole square is equal to a square plus b. No, the mathematical equality will not be there. But the minimum sense of equality, that everybody should have food, clothes, house, everybody should have education. Is it there? If it is there, then this is globalization. Then if we want to disturb the peace, if we shall make ourselves an instrument for disturbance, then there is no end to it. There will be no globalization. It will become a history. It will become a story. Globalization cannot be actualized at all. So my point is, globalization is a mindset, and Immanuel Kant is speaking about categorical imperative. If you talk about globalization, take it as a categorical imperative. If you talk about morality, take it as a universal principle. That means there's not any partiality. That this is what happens in India. Forget about Soviet Russia and others. One family is making a marriage ceremony of his son, and he is spending thousands of crores of rupees. and after that the market policy has been changed. So do we think that we are living really in a globalist society? This is not globalization. So we are not global in our mind, we are localized, we are colonized. Our mindset is colonized. We are colonized in religion, we are colonized in mindset, we are colonized in everything. In a family, what happens, very rightly Alok Tandon sir said that in a family what happens if one son is rich and another son is poor, the rich son does not take care of the poor son, poor brother. This happens, globalization fails in our family. So if we start globalization really from the grassroots, we have to start with the Kantian principle that yes, at least don't use anybody as means. And I shall say society is abstract, religion is abstract, country is abstract. Only the concrete thing is the individual. If an individual will be good, the society will be good. If all the individuals will be good, that will be, the nation will be good. So we cannot blame a nation, we cannot blame a society as a whole. We shall blame ourselves, and we shall start from ourselves. Let me value the moral principles. So this is number one. Number two, suppose we do not follow Kantian principle, then what will you follow? You will follow the contextual principle. As per my context permits, my ethics is meaningful, and in your context, your ethics is meaningful. If this way everybody will live, then live. There is no question of globalization. If globalization takes place, if we really utter that word seriously, then we have to find out in which points we can sit together, we can talk together, we can think together, irrespective of the differences, irrespective of our likes and dislikes, irrespective of our geographical area, our feelings, religions, etc. What are the common points? The, that is the real sense of globalization. In the sense of economics, that everybody should have minimum economic needs, minimum. In maximum state, that there may be difference, the minimum, but people are dying out of starvation. People cannot get two times meal a day. So that should not be a certain. So when Immanuel Kant is saying, if we say that it is strict rational, that should be, man should behave rationally only. When we are becoming rational, we are criticizing it. When we are becoming emotional, we are criticizing it. When we are becoming social, we are criticizing it. Then where we stand? We should be rational, we should be social, we should follow that. If we shall not be rational, then what shall we be? That is the point. So the attempt made by the scholar and the appreciation made by Professor Balmiki, I agree with them, because somewhere we have to start, and we fail because we do not value Kantian philosophy, neither Kantian philosophy nor contextualism. If we do not accept either Kantian or non-Kantian, then that means we don't have any value sense at all. Simply we are running after this ism, that country, that country. This is not the way of progression. Look at your own thought, look at your own family. Do you help your brother who does not have sufficient money? Ask yourself. If you are doing that, then you have a sense of globalization. Your mindset has been globalized. So in our mind, we are colonized. In our mind, we are globalized. This is my personal opinion, and I congratulate and I appreciate the topic and the speaker, the young speaker, and the observation made by Professor Amita Balmiki. We should have that sense. And the other points also, she said that categorical imperative and universalization and the end and means. All these points of Immanuel Kant fit fit to the concept of globalization if we take globalization seriously. Otherwise, the other parts, if not universalization, then it is contextualization. If it is not mean end, then it is means. This way, we cannot think of globalization. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, uh, Dr. Das. Well, one thing that I noted, nobody was critical about the selection of the title. Everybody was appreciating the approach and the title. That at least somebody has come, a research scholar, a young scholar has come forward to look into the problems arising out of globalization, applying the Kantian solution, the Kantian structure. Nobody was critical about the title. They were critical about the approach and the problems that turn up in the application of the Kantian methodology and the current situation that we are in. So that is the message, and that is what the audience, the participants have suggested. And nobody was critical about the title or the attempt. The only things that have come forth is how can one make Kantian methodology workable. That was the way everybody was trying to reach it. But the problems that they find in, as you rightly said, that we have a problem within our own family and leave it globalization. So that is the mindset. Well, you have rightly said. The very idea of globalization arises in the mindset. But is the mindset expanding to your own family? That's a big question mark. Is that idea of globalization expanding to your own family itself? It is not working. So how to make Kantian principle workable? That is the thing everybody is trying to find out, and they have tried to find out that there are problems with the cultures, there are problems with the societies, and there is no problem anywhere regarding the Kantian principle, the Kantian ethics. Everybody wanted to see how Kantian ethics could be made workable. And looking into various observations, I also made a position that Kantian principle, as a categorical imperative, has no problem in itself. But applying the principle, one should be culturally conscious where he is applying. So, looking at the context and the culture and the situation, we need to apply the principle. If this principle gets applied in different contexts, in different conditions, then maybe some of the problems arising out of globalization may be sorted out. So this was the approach and this was the idea that carried on, and nobody was against this approach or the title. So this is what I was supposed to say.
Rao, Dr. Rao,
Thank you. Thank you.
Dr. Rao.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes, Dr. Das. Dr. Das.
You take globalization in the sense of a traffic rules. When we are in the traffic track, there is a fixed traffic rule. Everybody will be bound to follow, otherwise there will be accidents. My point is, differences will be there. Diversity is natural because there are different types of people, there are different types of religions, there are different types of society. So it is not a great thing that there is diversity, there is differences. The point is, in which points, for example, traffic rules, traffic square is a place where all types of people, anybody he or she may be, whatever their caste, color, creed, religion may be, they will follow the traffic rule. Otherwise, they will be penalized. Otherwise, that will cause accidents. Similarly, if we really mean globalization, then we have to accept and respect the diversities first. And we have to see, by respecting the diversities, what are the common points where we can sit together, we can talk together, we can live together. That is Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. Otherwise, all Kutumbas are different. My Kutumba is not your Kutumba. My principle of my family principle is not your family principle. But there must be some
So
principle
the difference. So the very question of universality of a principle is different. When you say my principle is not your family principle, so then the Kantian model of a universal principle becomes problematic.
No, that is not the point. The
So
point is there must be some principles which must be universal. If there is not universal, we cannot make all people together. We cannot bring all people to a
Yes,
common under
then,
a common
then, sir,
umbrella.
sir, 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 your point is noted, and people are saying the same thing, that there is no problem with the Kantian principle because of the diversities, and you do admit diversities. In spite of the diversities, how these principles can be made workable under different contexts, under different situations, that need to be worked out where people can stand together. So
Huh.
you're also accepting
Yes,
the
yes,
same
that
thing.
is that
That
is my point. That
ha
is
ha ha
globalization. That
ha
is
ha ha.
globalization only.
Ha
Because
ha ha
if
ha.
we'll
Then such
go with
structures, when
diverse,
such structures.
if we shall list out the diversities, there is no end. There is no end to the diversities. We have to think about some common principles regarding economics, regarding society, regarding politics, regarding humanities, in which all the nations can sit together, can discuss together. This is the meaning of globalization. We cannot set the examples that in this way you are different, in that way he is different, in that way I am different, and differences will be there. But when we are talking about globalization and we are bound to be global, very nicely, Tandon sir said that in the time we have conquered time and space time through globalization. That is a merit point, and there must be some demerit points. We have to admit that. But the point is, globalization means that there must be some universal principles which we all have to abide, and we should respect each person as an end. We should, then there will be no war. Then there will be no war. When war taking place between two countries, it is really the ego conflict. The ego of this person and that person that causes the war. So if we shall take the Kantian model as we should treat a nation as an end, the humanity as an end, there will be no war at all. Therefore, there is no use of atom bomb. Why? Because this is a universal principle. Nobody can use so easily because that will cause our destruction. So we really follow Kantian principle in our family, in society, and in the concept of globalization. If we do not do that, then there is no question of globalization, because globalization means there is something that to be universal. There must be something should be treated as an end, and we should that is there is something about which we should be rational. This much. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Well, Dr. Das. Well, we have Radhanath Behra, sir. Uh, he's now present. Welcome, sir. Yes, your views, sir. Sir, Dr. Behra. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Carry on, sir. Yes, sir. You are visible also, but you are not audible. Now you have muted, sir. Please unmute, sir. Please unmute, sir. Your microphone. Unmute your microphone, sir. Yes, now speak, sir. Now speak, sir. Yes, sir. Speak, sir.
Is it
Speak, sir.
audible?
Yes, sir. Audible, sir. Audible, sir. Just carry
Okay,
on, sir.
thank you. Thank you very much. After a lot of effort from local to global, I am able to connect myself with you, the enlightened audience of this evening, particularly Miss Das. Anything Miss Das, the beau- beauty, the beauty does, anything beauty does is beautiful. The way she presented is also equally beautiful, coming
Absolutely.
from the voice of a young scholar with a lot of possibility ahead of her. It is important that philosophy, like my subject mathematics, starts from a small premise or a sort of premises and makes it global or universal or generalized. Similarly, how Kant came to my mind, I could have read more of it, But then there was Bertrand Russell in his history of Western philosophy. He said Kant was not a very great philosopher, but in his own way he was important because you see, to my mind, he Kant remained around Königsberg. That was a sort of Danube. Danube is the river, and Königsberg is the small place. Kant never moved out of Königsberg beyond 20 miles. So throughout his life, he was a local man. But think of his ethics, his philosophy, they were all global in nature. Now, this Königsberg bridge, there are seven bridges, and there was a mathematical problem that without retracing your path, you move from one bridge to another through the land and come back without retracing the path. Is it possible? There was a great mathematician Euler. He gave a sort, not an answer, but a universal theory about it. And that became graph theory, which we call algebraic topological theory, and out of which a global network system developed. Euler never thought of global network system of the present day, and Kant never expected that his ideas could be vibrant or broadcast throughout the world, and people of 21st century would be reinterpreting that as a sort of medium for establishing global conditions in the world. Our world is war prone. Now, on 6th and 9th August, we have our bitter days of bombardment of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. One interesting anecdote comes to my mind when Indian journalists went to, press people went to Nagasaki. They came across an old man sitting by the funeral site and asked him, "Do you regret that Americans could not have bombarded your city?" He simply said, without any remorse or any sort of antipathy for Americans, he simply said, "We reconstructed our own cities and we, we wish to have our identity, particularly you can see the President of America, the most powerful executive of the world, uses computer, uses telephone, uses mobile and other gadgets, including fountain pen, all manufactured in Japan. So, in a sense, we have dominated their scenario. Ours may be a devastated country. They are still the super policemen of the world. But look at the scenario. We have dominated them. We have reversed the trend, and we are good friends now. So this sort of globalization should exist. Act locally and think globally. That is a beautiful remark made everywhere, and it is being broadcast throughout the world. But then, are you shedding your ego, your identity, your prejudices? It is difficult because we are so much fascinated by them, so much accustomed by them, that it is difficult to shed the set of ego we have in our mind. So the best way for philosophers would be start from your own house because charity begins at home. Make yourself liberal at home and move out and embrace the whole world. Thereby you establish globalization. So I'm not a keen student of Kant. Had there been some time, more time given to me, I would have read it in detail. But Kant was more or less attracted towards mathematics, and out of his mathematics, some new ideas came for the time being, but he concentrated mostly on philosophy, particularly ethical principles. So, with these words, I may thank Miss Beauty. Anything beauty does is beautiful. I repeat, beauty is what beauty does. So, a philosophy to be made beautiful has to set its own ego, its own regional consideration, and merge with the infinite and think globally. This is the perhaps the beautiful message we can have from our today's discussion. I am a sort of intruder into your realm of philosophy. Therefore, pardon me for not speaking like a philosopher, and I should not also be because I am a keen student of mathematics, and mathematics and philosophy they join to produce a great philosopher or thinker like Bertrand Russell. On 18th, Professor Das has made me a speaker for speaking about Bertrand Russell and his philosophy and mathematics. So let us wait for that day. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your valuable observations.
Yes, would you like to say something, Buddhadas? No. Would you like to say something?
No, sir.
Okay. Okay, well, Dr. Behera, well, one thing that comes out of your observation that think globally, act locally, taking insight from this, have a universal principle, find an application at a local level, see its workability at the local level, such workabilities at different local levels, when come together, may constitute a bigger ocean. Small ripples in the water, okay, I mean the local levels, they come together to find a bigger ripple. And if that expansion really happens, we may see the success of the universal principle finding at a local level and the expansion of this local success at different counts, at different occasions, different situations. Now, if they mingle, maybe there can be a bigger ripple to encompass that universal principle. Maybe I think this is how I try to summarize. Well, the experts are there. They
Correct, sir.
let us move back to our admin. Yes, he wants to say
No, no,
something.
no, no.
Yes,
Yes, you are
Doctor.
right. You are right. You are right. Discipline should begin from our home, from ourselves, from an individual. Every individual should have a globalized mindset. That was my point. That was the point of the young speaker, and that was the point of our Professor Amitabh Valmiki. We should have we should have that sense of globalization. Okay. Anyway, I shall not speak more. And now we shall go to Kailash Chandra with a vote of thanks and his observation. This is the last observation.
Hello, hello. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Am
Audible
I
and
audible?
visible. Audible and visible.
Hello. Okay, okay. So I was mindfully listening to the excellent talk of Miss Beauty Das on this scheduled topic, and I'm amazed of listening her clarity and deep understanding of this subject and the expansion of the subject that she has she has said in her responses. And it was many congratulations to Miss Beauty Das for her interest in reflecting her philosophical ideas on this study topic. And today,
If it can be applied for developing a concept, for the better understanding of a concept, for a better interpretation of a concept, it is always welcome. And your attempt, as you say, uh, that you are finding models from the West and applying to the Eastern context, well, if it is applicable and if it can be made accommodative, there is no problem in it. And we should welcome this idea. Well,
Okay.
well, sir,
Can can I
sir,
can
I'm
I
coming
say
back.
a few words?
Sir, coming back to you, sir.
Hello.
1 minute, sir. So,
Okay.
so the suggestions made by Professor Paneer Selvam, sir, are really interesting. And whatever be the model, well, if it is a Western model, okay, we should not say that how it is applicable to the Indian context. No, if it is applicable, if it can find its applicability, there is no problem in it. In understanding the concept, it may be an Indian concept. So there is no problem in it. And Professor Paneer Selvam sir is doing that since long, and he is more or less successful in that attempt. And there is no problem in it. And at the same time, while applying the methodologies, and he is trying to see how they can be accommodated, if at all they can be accommodated, also trying to find out the limitations, not only the limitations of the West. Yes, sir, you wanted to say something.
One point can I add?
Yes, sir.
With your permission. Now, see, one interesting thing is that the Utkal model in philosophy, this is something very thought-provoking and remarkable. That Utkal model, that is Utkal University model, I would like to say, wherein we come across great thinkers like Ganesha Mishra, Krishna Mishra, then Professor G.C. Nayak, Vijayananda Kar, Professor G.P. Das, and many others who have developed this Utkal model, wherein I would say the analytical approach or analytical model of philosophy has been developed. Now, let me give one example and then stop. Take Ganesha Mishra. Ganesha Mishra, after coming from the foreign country, he has applied, he was able to see Sankara from a new perspective. What is that? He was the first one to say or to argue that Shankara could be seen as a linguistic philosopher. I think this was a very remarkable model in India because we have been looking at Shankara as a metaphysical thinker alone. But it is Ganesha Mishra who could very boldly say that Shankara can be a linguistic philosopher also. And he has written two small books. One is Advaita, the Method and Limits, and another is linguistic issues in the analytical issues in philosophy or something like that. In both these books, though they are very small, they are very thought-provoking. And in these two books, he has argued that how Shankara could be seen as an analytical thinker. This method is something remarkable. Of course, there were many criticisms, and some argued this method is a sort of reductionism. That's fine, but here is a novel method which can be seen from a different perspective. In fact, when I was doing my PhD on Shankara and Wittgenstein, I had the opportunity of meeting Professor K. Chachidanamurthy, whom Venkatrao was mentioning. Chachidanamurthy was then the vice chairman of UGC. So he was asking me what are the books I am reading. I was mentioning some books. Then he was asking whether I read Ganesha Mishra. Yeah. Then he said Ganesha Mishra's book must be read because it contains a lot of methodologies, not one methodology, a lot of methodologies which one can apply from both perspectives, Wittgenstein or the logical possibilities or from Shankara's side. So this method is something remarkable. So the contribution of the Utkal University or the Oriya model is something remarkable because they are the people first to say that how the analytical philosophical discourse can be seen in Indian philosophical tradition. So this method is a very, very beautiful method. So something like that could be developed so that both the Indian and Western perspective can be appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. We'll look forward to two things. Take note of what you have said and try to work on it. Yes, Professor.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes. Thank you very much, Dr. Professor Dr. Paneerselvam sir, for your excellent suggestions and for the improvement of the philosophy family. I noticed that you are keenly interested in doing comparative analysis between the Western philosophy as well as the Eastern philosophy. In this regard, I would like to, inform you to your kind knowledge, sir. I have prepared about the Cartesian dualism versus Sankhyan dualism. That is one aspect.
Yeah.
The other one is about Thomism monism and Advaita monism.
Oh.
I have prepared nearly 100 pages of both, and I am just fine-tuning each one of them, and I am trying to shrink the same to make it presentable within 1 hour in philosophy family. It's a very difficult task, but then perhaps if they conduct a seminar like that or some other place where I can have an opportunity, I would be able to dwell on such subjects in which I am deeply interested. I thank you very much for your kind suggestion. I am
Thank
working on it, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
May I say something, sir?
Yes, sir.
So I was very much happy to listen from Paneerselvam sir about Dayakishan ji. So he was a great teacher, and he invited me twice to, once to Butler Palace and second time to Jaipur, and we had a very great discussion and seminar there. And Professor Jamal Khaja and other scholars were there. And he was very much encouraging that we should do some comparative study between Hindu and Islamic philosophy. And he invited us once to deliver lectures on Islamic philosophy, and he showed a lot of interest. So you just brought his memory back to me. Also, I was so happy. Secondly, what you said, sir, rightly, so we can have such type of programs, and as has been said in Arabic, "Tu'riful asha'u bi azdadiha." Things are known better by comparing them. So comparison brings some new dimensions to fore. So as you said rightly, there may be many things in the Indian philosophy which are still, very much relevant, and we need to get insights from that past wisdom. And as has been said in Rig Veda, let noble thoughts come from all sides. So we have not closed our minds. So we can just get some insights from maybe from the Western philosophy and Chinese philosophy, Islamic philosophy, and from science, from other subjects as well. Because in West, philosophy has developed, in such a multi-dimensional and multidisciplinary way. So why can't we just emulate that good aspect here as well? And we can have some programs in universities as well. We can have collaborations with ICPR, and we can have collaboration with different departments in the philosophy, in the universities of Kashmir, Jammu, and Punjab, other universities. So we have to work on that. So we have to come out from our small, these circles, and to make philosophy a little bit universal and national in scope, rather than remaining limited to these departments only, and to see the modern challenges. And we have to interact with each other. So it is strange that living together for hundreds of years, but we don't interact. Strange things. At least Western people work on our philosophies, our culture, our legacy, but we are not working on each other's culture and philosophy. So Muslims should study Hindu philosophy, and Hindus should study Islamic philosophy, and especially Tasawwuf, Sufism. Sufism has become so much relevant in modern times and intelligence dialogue. So I have been trying here in this forum. I have been given chance by Professor Pramod Kumar Das ji and Narai ji and Rao ji and others, that I could present some of the views, because I have been doing comparative study of Western philosophy and Islamic philosophy whole of my life. And that has given me some new impetus. And I could understand my philosophy better after comparing that with Western philosophy. And sometimes I compare that with Hindu philosophy also, and that gives me some new perspectives and new insights. So this is a very healthy trend. We should promote this. So I subscribe to whatever you said, sir. This was really a great boost to our ideas which we have already entertained. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you, Professor Marazi. Well, we have with us Jayanti Madam. Yes, Jayanti Madam and Kalyani Madam. Then, okay, Jayanti Madam, are you ready, Madam? Jayanti, madam, please. Yes,
Sir,
madam,
good
namaskar.
evening, sir. Namaskar, sir. Namaskaram to all. Actually, sir, I must congratulate philosophy family, Professor P.K. Das, Professor Ranjan Ghosh, and Professor Rao, and many other people who are just. I would like to my observation regarding Indian philosophy as well as Western philosophy, because I did my the PhD on Western philosophy. Then I shifted my interest to Indian philosophy. I have noticed, that's my personal observation. I should not be taken as it's a general opinion. It's not a general opinion. It's my views. I have seen the people who are working in the philosophical area in India, especially. Either they have interest on Indian philosophy and they don't want to study Western philosophy, or they have the interest on, most of them are interested in on Western philosophy, and without going through the details or about the Indian philosophy, they just pass some kind of comments and observation, which is not a kind of very healthy atmosphere in philosophical studies. As Professor Paneer Silvam sir has already mentioned, he is a distinguished scholar in this field, in this area. So what I this is not a kind of, when we do not know about the Upanishad, we have such a rich tradition, philosophical traditions, whether it is the Shruti tradition or the Smriti tradition or Buddhism, Jainism, and so many. And when we Indians, we criticize Indian philosophy, just making a kind of statement, either it is a religious studies or spiritualism or something which is not philosophy at all. So we cannot think about the Western scholars when they pass some kind of comments that in India there is no philosophy at all. So that is my suggestion, is that I have observed that philosophy family, though I am not able to join regularly, but I listen to Professor Ponit Silvam sir frequently and other people. But my suggestion and humble request to the all the distinguished scholars and professors who are present here, the time has come to have a kind of discussion, panel discussion, which if the philosophy family can introduce, taking the Indian philosophical systems into account, also the Western philosophical systems into account. See, we can do a comparative studies, but thinking process are different, time and the context are different. So that there will be a problem, but that problem, because philosophy address the social and individual problems, be it in India or be it anywhere else. So that saying that India doesn't have a philosophy and just passing some comments without going to the text, serious discourse, that will not resolve the problems. And philosophy must address the common problems, social and individual problems, reach out to the public. We simply make it a kind of discourse inside the classroom. We must address the individual problems, contemporary problems, and if we can start with our text, rich text of Indian philosophical tradition, then probably we can have little contribution to the common people, and they are really looking for the philosophers. So I must congratulate once again, and my sincere and heartfelt gratitude to all the scholars present here, and especially my heartfelt gratitude to all my teachers who have taught me, and the Paneer Silvam sir, and everybody who is present here. Thank you for giving me a chance to present my views. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Rao
madam.
sir.
Thank you,
Thank
madam. In future, we'll plan for panel discussion, inviting scholars from the Indian side, one from the Western side, and somebody having a perspective from both the sides or having a neutral perspective. So we can think of such discussion, a panel discussion in the days to come, and we look forward for to Panir Selvam sir to guide us on this. Thank you so much, madam. Well, we have with us Sisadri sir. It is already 11 or 11:30 in New Zealand. He's there. He wants to say something. Well, sir, please, sir. Professor Sisadri. Sir, please.
Yeah, I was just about to talk on this idea that Professor Jayanti Sahu had said. If we can encourage participants, maybe not every Sunday, but once a month, one of the Sundays, to get a text, original text, and a research student making comments only on that text from different perspective, maybe two or three young scholars to do that. It can be Indian, can be Western, it can be from any side. Any particular book, maybe about 250 pages, if those students can write a paper which we all can attend, we can talk, and at least in my personal view, as teachers, we cannot be too judgmental about the quality of the students. Simple reason because they are too young, but at least it will give a step for them to move forward. And this, I tell you this only because my professor of English, Vinda Karandekar, Jnanpith Award winner, he used to make us, even though some of us are employed students, he used to make us write a paper on one of the books by anyone, any English author. And we had to do that. Two students and two teachers. And we used to have it on alternate Saturdays for two lectures. And that helped us a lot. But when I came to philosophy later, it was not the case because the time was too short for everything except in MA classes. So I think that will be one good thing if you can work on it. Guides can decide the text. Of course, we cannot give something like, Dharma Shastra for such student to read and do. It's not be possible. But there are books available. Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan has a lot of publications and we can work on that. It is only a suggestion that comes from me. And the second thing I want to say is, Professor Paneerselvam said ICPR helps a lot. I don't know how many universities, departments, or colleges have approached ICPR. I've been saying this in all conferences that we should take the help of ICPR to do this. Finance is not a problem for small projects. Finance is not a problem. The problem is identifying proper resource persons and getting teachers and students to participate. Today, philosophy is more or less become a question answer session everywhere, whereas the function of philosophy is to open up our minds. We talk of personal, national, uh, you know, problems at all levels all over the world. The problem of environment, management of health, management of mental health. Can we ever do it? Can we ever manage it without a perspective or spirituality? How can we take philosophy from pure metaphysics for pure religion to a level of spirituality? What I mean by spirituality, nothing to do with religion, nothing to do with ontology. All that I want is that human mind remains a human mind. If we can bring philosophy to that level, I think we as teachers would have played a role in the welfare of the students community. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Well, I request Dr. Reena, madam, Reena Puradkar, madam, if she wants to say something. Well,
Okay, Dr. Kalyani is also there.
Kalani, madam, she has left actually. She has left. Anup sir. Yes, sir. Anup sir, please. Anup sir, please. We have it. Yes, Anup sir. Waiting for him. In the meantime, we have it as yes, yes. Anup sir. Namaskar, sir. Please.
Namaskar, namaskar. Good morning and namaskar to everybody. All, particularly all the teachers or friends, uh, and I must congratulate Philosophy Family for organizing such a great seminar or meeting. The suggestions given here are really very encouraging in the sense that um, if we even achieve 10% of the suggestions given, we will one step forward. And one little step forward is a great, that will be a great step for the entire humankind, mankind to enter, particularly towards the development of Indian philosophy, or you can say to let the people, Western people, know about the worth of Indian philosophy. I welcome all the suggestions given, and I must say that the senior teachers, those are here in our group, must guide us to do something uh, off the screen, with connecting and discussing with each other, and give some good suggestions how can we get it can be done. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Well, we have it as Vishnu Chaudhary. I don't know whether he's Professor Vishnu Chaudhary for political science. I don't know, but if he wants to say something, because I see Vishnu Chaudhary, maybe Professor Vishnu Chaudhary, but from political science, I don't know. Yes, yes, it is Professor Vishnu Chaudhary for political science. Yes, sir. Namaskar, sir. Namaskar, sir. Welcome, sir.
Namaskar.
Please, sir. Please, sir. We are listening.
I'm interested in listening.
Sir, please,
I'm not
sir. No, sir. We have listened to you number of times and
because
your words. Sir, please, sir. Please, sir. Please, sir.
Professor Radhanath Behra, he requests me to join this philosophy family. And since political science is very much close to philosophy, I don't mind in joining the different webinars you have organized. And I have enjoyed them. And from the beginning, I have been listening to the suggestions offered by the esteemed participants. They were very constructive, and if we can follow them, the this organization, philosophy family, will be doing great justice to philosophy, and in encouraging the young people to participate in this. I find in most of the webinars, only senior people they join. This is a tendency because I've been joining after this COVID only webinars. I find only senior people. I'm 71. So young people, somebody who is 21, 22 must join to learn. And if he learns, he will guide others. We are all, of course, we are retired but not tired. But the interest we take, I find younger generation, they are not coming forward to listen. I don't know why. Because even in literary meetings I join, we discuss many great people, their philosophy, their approach, their life, their contributions. But you find only one or two young people. Others are all senior people. Professor Radhanath Vera is still senior to me, but though he belongs to mathematics, he speaks very good on philosophy. I have listened to him about half a dozen times in this forum, Philosophy Family, and I liked them because he comes prepared and he is well read. So, what I would suggest is we must invite senior people who are well read, who have done some research, because many people, I was listening to Professor Panir Salbam, he was very good in his analysis and in his suggestions. Because I remember in 1977, I went to NIRD, National Institute of Rural Development, Hyderabad. Earlier it was called NICD, now they have termed it NIRD and PR, Panchayati Raj. The type of teachers from Usmania they were coming, and whether Professor Parmeswaran from psychology or Professor Basiruddin from communication, they were extremely good. And a young man, I have been greatly benefited from that. One of our senior scholars was quoting Utkal University people. I actually listened to, I had the benefit of listening to Professor Krishna Prasad Mishra, who is not from philosophy, not only from philosophy, he was also a man who carved out a niche for himself in the Odia literature as a short story writer. And I have many of his books with me even right now. Many people have also done research on his writings. So whenever he was speaking, he was very good in analysis. For example, he was very right. Utkal University at one time, which is I think 13th or 14th university in the country, at one time it had very good members of the faculty in political science, in philosophy, in psychology. In psychology, for example, we had Professor Radhanath Rath, who is an internationally reputed psychologist. Similarly, philosophy also, Professor Ganeshwar Mishra, Professor K.P. Mishra, many names he has uttered. They made contribution. Now you go, the research culture is absent in most of the universities. Young scholars are not interested to study only cut and paste. You give 2 days. Suppose I am given now an opportunity to give a talk on any Jayaprakash Narayan, for example, Indian philosophy and Jayaprakash Narayan. I will prepare at least 15 days. Now you give to the young scholar within 24 hours, he will prepare the paper because they don't refer to books, they don't refer to journals. Whatever they get in internet, they just jumble up, and there is no, proper analysis of things. So I am very happy that you are organizing this philosophy family, and I will join whenever I get a link because Professor Radhanath Behra is a well-wisher of mine, my senior. He was a member syndicate of our university, and having taught in the university, Barampur University, for 36 years, I have listened to many great people in different subjects because remaining in a PG department for 36 years. I joined Barampur University when I was 23. And after 37 years of teaching, I retired in after 60 years in 2014. So I appreciate your endeavor, and I wish this family a splendid success. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your words. I'll be in touch with you, sir. Please spare some time for us to deliver a talk in philosophy family, sir.
Yes, yes, sure.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir. Well, it is nearly
Sure,
8:45.
sure, sure.
Sir, thank you so much, sir. It is nearly 8:45, and we have people to speak. If they want to speak, they can speak. But we want to listen to our admin because he was silently listening to all of us, and he is the man. Actually, I say proudly say he is the man who works 24/7. He is the man who prepared entirely for this day. I just joined, to be frank. He was the man who planned out what to do, what not to do, prepared the entire PPT, entire list of webinars delivered. He prepared what should be the agenda. He prepared what to do, what not to do. Okay, and he who reminded again and again that we should come up with a book whatsoever. So such sort of dedication is missing in the present time, which Professor Vishnu Chaudhary sir has rightly pointed out. And we should bring out this culture in the young scholars. We should attract them to the academics. So it's a tough thing, but possible. Thank you so much. Well, if somebody say Reena Madam, she is there since long. If she wants to say something, please, Madam, Dr. Reena Puratkar, Madam. If you want to say something, please.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much for giving me an opportunity. I should say thanks to Das sir, Om Narayan Rao sir, and Mohapatra sir because they are constantly being a pillar of philosophy family. They are day and night. They are working it out for every Sunday. But we being like occupied with some other work, so we cannot able to join. That is our loss. But we see to it that we can able to see all the lectures which has been uploaded onto the YouTube. But it's a one request at request I can say that that the way now we have seen a trend in the philosophy family, that we are incorporating the students and their webinar has been organized, so it should go on, so we can able to cultivate the culture of research among the students. So possibility is there, one day we can keep one Sunday, as Sheshadri sir was stated, that we can keep one day a student seminar. Only student will speak. Only students will come up with the ideas. We can give them one topic the way we have the seminars. So they will. So we can able to incorporate. And in this new education policy, the research is very important. Without research, nothing is possible. So I think we can able to do that, and we and all the teachers and all the uh, stalwart peoples in the philosophy family can guide them. And this online platform, there they will also get benefited by their guidance, because it's not possible for them to reach them, but this is a platform where we can able to reach. The way we can get the ideas, like the way Panirselvam sir also stated, that comparative approach need to be developed. If comparative approach will not be there, then they will be focused only on one idea. So it is not possible to grow a people as a researcher. And then we can say that we find a lacuna in the real life also. Then we are coming up the problems, like the conflicts are there, chaos are there. So if we develop the research which is a comparative, we can able to overcome the problems which we are facing it out. And student will also understand. And one more thing we can do it, that the student will also learn that yes, philosophy is such an important topic for their life, because we know that only the students at undergraduate level, they are knowing it about what philosophy is. But problem is there now, the student, those are into the 11th and 12th standard, they are not aware about the philosophy, because many colleges or they are not offering about it. The PU level, we can say that. So naturally, can we do as a philosophy family? Can we able to approach to the the boards, state boards or CBSE board, that this subject can be compulsory for the students to take up into the undergraduate to the undergraduate level. So we can say that we can able to save our own subject also, and we can tell them the real IQS that we are talking about, Indian knowledge system, will reach to these students, and then they will come up for this subject and they will grow this subject. As I can say that the wonderful task has been done by all the office bearers of philosophy family. Without them, it is not possible, because last 4 years they are handling everything. Congratulations to Das sir, Om Narayan Rao sir, and Mohapatra sir. Thank you for giving me an opportunity. Thank you, sir.
Yes. Thank you, madam. Well, your suggestions are noted and we'll go forward to bring young scholars to philosophy family. Well, we wanted to listen to Professor, our admin, Professor Pramod Das, but Radhanath Bera, sir, wants to say something. I request him to speak on for, say, 1 minute, sir, please, because we wish to listen to Professor Das. Okay. Radhanath Bera, sir. Yes, sir. 1 minute, please, sir. Yes, sir. Professor Bera, sir, please. Is he there? Yes. He's in two mobile phones. Maybe it's not possible. I don't think. Yes, sir. Professor Behra. Well, sir. Will. Yes. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Welcome, sir. Please. Please unmute, sir. Please. Your word, sir. Then we'll move to our admin, and we are eagerly waiting to listen to him. Dr. Behra, you want to say something? Sir, Dr. Behra. Radhanath Behra, sir. Okay, we'll come back to Dr. Radhanath Bera, sir, after the comments uh, from the architect of philosophy family, the fighter, I say, really committed. And I request him to have his words on this day.
Namaskar, namaskar. Am I clearly audible, sir?
Clearly audible.
And
Okay,
also visible, clearly visible. Sir, you carry on, sir. Very nice, sir. Carry on.
okay. I carefully listened all the observations made by uh, great scholars of our country, We can never forget their contributions to philosophy family since 4 years. One thing I believe, you forget Indian philosophy, you forget Western philosophy. As a philosopher, I believe, as a student of philosophy, I believe, as a teacher of philosophy, I simply believe one thing, that a philosopher should be a romantic personality. If a philosopher does not have that romantic flavor, that is how philosophy is called love of wisdom. If that romanticism is not there, that longing is not there, that commitment is not there, we can make observations, we can make discussions once in a year. But when we actually work upon it, we we come to the practice and we organize webinars regularly in every Sunday, inviting great scholars from the different corners of the country. It is only because of the subconscious love for something. That means we live with that subconscious awareness that one should be inclined for that. I honor all the suggestions, and not only 10%, we shall follow 100% of the all the observations made committed here. This day should be a day of promise, but the question is, who will bail the cat? How can these suggestions be possible, can be practiced? So I have some suggestion to make these suggestions possible. So I shall request the senior professors like Pandir Selvanji, Seshadri sir, and Alok Tandon ji, and others, Harman Mishra sir ji, Radhaman sir ji. I shall request them. They should make one Sunday as their day. Suppose today is the day of Professor Pandir Selvanji. We shall not interfere. I am dreaming that how can the suggestions can be implemented. Suppose today is the day of Pandit Selvanji. He will invite professors from foreign countries that we are discussing about pan-Indian perspective. That should be, we should expand our forum to international. We should make the local forum to global. So suppose this is the day for Professor Pandit Selvanji. So he will invite the speakers and he will moderate, he will organize, and that day we all three will remain the participants. So the organizers sometimes should be the participants. Similarly, another day will be made by professors. So what will happen? So they will think, they will also take it as their own family. It is not that it is done by us, by we three, and they are just invited as guests. No, that should not be. We have done the nursery stage. Entire teachings of the Bhagavad Gita started in a very adverse situation, that is the battlefield. Can you imagine? Philosophy can start in the battlefield. Similarly, in the pandemic situation, this philosophy family took birth. So we have nurtured this family to this stage, and now the age of a philosophy family is 4 years. Now the grandfather, grandmother, other members of family should help nurturing the child. The philosophy family is now a child of 4 years. So the philosophy family needs the guidance of senior professors. So only professing will not matter. We have to make it. We shall do it in practice. It's very difficult. What we say what we profess, then we come to the real practice. It is very difficult, but it is possible. Difficult, but possible. This is romanticism. That I shall achieve that. I shall get that. Krishna Prasad Mishra was my teacher. He was a romantic philosopher. Professor Hudananda Rai was a romantic philosopher. Romantic in the sense, not only they read philosophy, they live philosophy. So living philosophical ideas in our daily practical life is a great thing. Number one. Secondly, I shall say there should not be any conflict between Indian and Western. I am saying very frankly, all the talks given by Professor Panir Selvam Professor Seshadri ji, and Amita Balmik Madam, and they have spoken on Western philosophy. Of course, there is a link of Indian philosophy to some extent. And out of 488 lectures given or programs, I shall say that perhaps 100 lectures are about from the Western perspective. Even the students, young scholars also, they have presented papers on, from Western philosophy. So that should not be any conflict. We should understand Western philosophy in the eye of Indian philosophy. We should understand Indian philosophy in the eye of Western philosophy, because we are philosophers. We should not be a party to Indian or Western. We should be neutral. The problem is that we are. The problem is that we are raising the flag that I am a brand of Western philosophy, so Indian philosophy is bad. I am the I appreciate Indian philosophy, therefore Western philosophy is bad. That type of emotion is not romanticism. Romanticism means we should behave like Lord Krishna. Lord Krishna is a very romantic man. So, but that man had a sthitapagya mind, that one should not be biased by any ism, any philosophy. Philosophical mind should be very much open. It should have open access to everything. So, but the problem is we should need experts. If somebody has expertise in Indian philosophy, we should not compel him to speak on Western philosophy. Otherwise, he is a substandard speaker. No. If somebody has expertise in Western philosophy, then he will speak up on Western philosophy. So we have to search. We have to search, and that we are doing. I shall salute Dr. Krishnamurti. He has introduced so many philosophers to this forum. Really, this is a great contribution. Indu Khanduri Madam and Amita Balmiki Madam, they have also introduced many scholars, many great philosophers to this department. And whenever I go to any university for any program, I simply collect the phone numbers of great people so that we can invite them in future. So this, what I am doing, or Dr. Rao is doing, or Kailash sir is doing, I shall request in my folded hands to all the senior professors. They should they should adopt this family. They should take care of this family. They should give their grandfatherly affection. They should think that this is our family. Okay, so that is the only way we can practice what we are saying. So one day or many sessions will be conducted by professors. Once it has been done, Panir Selvanji conducted one great event taking the young scholars, and he decided that I shall do it through Philosophy Family. Philosophy Family has recorded it and uploaded in YouTube. Similarly, and in that function, what happened? He did everything. He moderated, he coordinated, he did everything. Similarly, in one session, Panir Selvam sir will moderate, not Dr. Rao. Similarly, in another webinar will be organized by and invited the speakers by Amita Valmiki Madam or by any other professors. They will be the mentor of that session. By that way, we can reach this target. So, whatever we discussed today, at the cost of the lecture of Professor Panirselvam ji, that we postponed that lecture to the next Sunday only because we can discuss better, that should be fruitful. That should be come into practice. If it is done, then we shall think that it is fruitful. Otherwise, this mere discussion, observation has no meaning. Okay, don't take it otherwise. I am just speaking it very emotionally. So also Hamid Maharaj sir, he said that he can invite speakers from Malaysia. So one very good observation that we shall make this local platform global. We shall make this national platform international. And because we do not have, frankly speaking, I don't have any access with the international speakers. So if Pandit Selvam sir has access, he should use that instrument in this forum. And other professors have also access for that. So we shall celebrate that. So every time we shall celebrate philosophy in our conscious mind, in our heart and mind, not only by mind, but also by our heart. I love all of you. I respect all of you. I honor all the suggestions. It is your family. And let us see the best days of a philosophy family with the blessings of all senior professors present here and those even who are absent in this occasion. Let us do something better as we profess, as we promise today. With this, I shall seek blessings from all of you that that we shall see philosophy family of not only 4 years, 10 years, 20 years, and another thing I shall say, more than 50 young students, scholars have been they have delivered their talks in this forum, and they have become extempore speakers. It is not a matter of joke. An undergraduate student from Kashmir University, undergraduate student, perhaps he is plus 3 first year or second year.
No,
We
PG,
consider.
PG
Huh?
student, PG student. You were
No,
talking
no,
about
no, no,
Acha,
no, no.
other student.
I was wrong. I was wrong at that time. Actually, the
Sorry, UG student.
UG undergraduate student, plus 3 first year or perhaps first year, plus 3 first year student. Wrongly, I mentioned PG student. He is a plus 3 first year student. The way she delivered the talk, the way her body language, her command over language, her expression, her responses, wonderful. In one attempt, not that she has delivered so many talks. So, Ankita Sharma, her paper has been selected in the WPC, and she will go to Rome. And she has been inspired by our philosophy family. So many, including my son also. So all many young scholars, they have been motivated. They come forward to deliver talks and publish their papers. But it is not sufficient. We should expand it so that not only the students, we teachers are responsible. We should encourage our students to be involved in such platform, as Jayanti madam said. So, number one, I am summarizing what I said. Number one, all great speakers present here since 4 years, they are with us. They will make one day as his day or her day. This is the day of Pandit Selvam-ji. We shall enjoy. We shall sit in the audience and we shall see. He will moderate, he will invite speakers according to his choice. Not only one speaker, maybe two speakers, three speakers. They will speak half an hour, and that will be a very good discussion. Another day is for Hamid Maraji sir. Another day is for Amita Valmiki. So that will be wonderful. And we are doing since 4 years, and we are also doing in future. But one day will be the special day of the great, and we shall also felicitate. We shall also felicitate the invited speakers, those who will address in this forum. This is one suggestion. Second suggestion, not suggestion, I am going with you that we shall encourage the young scholars. That is my motto. That is the goal of a philosophy family is only that. Because our days are passing away. They will come forward, or otherwise philosophy will die. There will be no question of Indian and Western if no students will be there. So philosophy should survive through through the minds of the young scholars. So we shall invite them. And one sir, he was suggesting that we should collect his number from Madras. He was suggesting that he will help us. We shall keep contact with them. And
Please,
Professor Pan.
Nanda Gopal Biswas, please
Yes,
give
yes.
your number.
Please.
Give your number.
Number.
Give your
Yes,
number.
yes.
Please type your number in the message box.
And Parnir Selvam sir very nicely and very hopefully, very optimistically, very enthusiastically, very aesthetically said that ICPR will help us. May not help. At least he said this. That is enough for us. So what we can do? We can collaborate with any university, any college, and we can do it in physical mode. And those who cannot attend, they will attend online. So, and in that occasion, we can felicitate. By that way, we can flourish this forum. We can do something better in this forum. So, and I shall salute Panir Selvam sir for delivering lectures on different philosophers. That is a great thing. Suppose a lecture on Descartes, a lecture on Immanuel Kant, a lecture, that is a great thing. People do not do that. People just take a concept and discussing that. But this is a great thing. So this type of innovative ideas, innovative way of presenting papers should be appreciated. So there is really no conflict between Indian and Western. Philosophy is philosophy. And our interest, suppose somebody is interested in Indian philosophy, we shall invite him, you come and speak on Indian philosophy because you have expertise. As Harman Mishra sir said, he is a Sanskrit scholar. So he has studied the original texts. So we should take use of that. We should not force them that you, because you are not expert in Western. For example, I am saying that you are substandard. No. Similarly, somebody is expert in Western philosophy. We should invite them. Actually, in philosophy family, we never give any topic to speakers. Panir Selvam sir will admit with this. We never. We never give any topic that, sir, please you speak on this topic. We don't have any agenda. We don't have any topic. We simply say, in whatever topic you have expertise, you come and speak to us. We shall learn from you. So this learning attitude should be there with all of us. With this, I shall not speak more. This is your day. You are celebrating, and we shall follow all the observations. Therefore, I said in the beginning, kindly note the observations. We shall follow 100%. 100%. Thank you. Namaste. Namaste. Panir Selvam you please speak two words. What I said, and do you agree with me or not? Professor Panir Selvam
Yeah, actually, philosophy is philosophy, as you rightly said. Whether it is Indian philosophy or philosophy, a Western philosophy, philosophy is philosophy. Because, once I heard Professor K. Chaitanya, he said that chemistry is chemistry. We don't make Indian chemistry, Western chemistry, that distinction. By quoting that, he said, philosophy is philosophy. Chinese philosophy, Indian philosophy, Western philosophy, Greek philosophy, but they represent the geographical area in which a particular school of thought has emerged. But what is more important is, as you correctly said, that student must be there. That is most important thing. That we have to take care of that. We have to encourage students, and there should be opportunity given to young teachers and scholars. We have to groom them because, as I said in the beginning, that they are the future of philosophy. So this is a good idea what Professor Das has said. We'll have some of us can plan and organize a seminar, that is webinar, on some chosen themes. For example, I would be interested to do on something on uh, consciousness, theory of consciousness, both Indian and Western perspective. And I can invite 3 or 4 scholars, senior scholars, and also 2 young scholars, so that we can listen to seniors and young scholars. And this one methodology which I think a philosophy family can practice, which will help us to know different standpoints. So I'm very grateful to Professor Das ji for giving a very beautiful idea, and will follow his instruction, I would say, because he is the one who works tirelessly, I would should say. And how difficult it is to organize meeting every week. Sometimes I make a promise that I would deliver a lecture on this day, but due to some other unavoidable circumstances, I could not do. So I used to request him, and he was so kind enough. It is very difficult to make adjustments because if one speaker is not willing to come, is not ready, then we have to make arrangement. And he has been doing very systematically, and I'm very grateful to you. In fact, I should say that I have learned a lot by attending many programs. Sometimes I may not be present in the webinar, but normally I see the videos which is given in the next day itself. So that is a great contribution of the philosophy family. So we are grateful to you, Professor. Thank you so much.
Dr. Rao, Dr. Rao, Dr. Rao.
Hello, Dr. Rao.
Acha,
Rao
Kailash
sir.
sir, Kailash
Rao
sir,
sir. Yes, yes.
we shall end
Yes,
here and give vote of thanks.
yes, yes. Yes. Thank you. Okay, thanks so much, Dr. Das.
Okay, okay,
Now,
okay, sir,
oh,
1 second. Some
okay.
technical issue.
Yes, yes.
Some young scholars were present. Actually, this is the celebration day, and they wanted to say something. Ambika is there. Ambika Mishra. Okay.
Yes, Ambika, Ambika.
He let him speak because he was waiting
Sir,
in the
hello,
beginning.
Dr. Rao, Dr.
Yes, sir.
Rao.
Huh.
Just allow 5 minutes, then we shall
5 minutes.
go for vote
Yes,
of thanks.
yes, huh. 5 minutes, please. Ambika, if you want to say something, Ambika.
Sir,
Huh.
Pranam sir. Actually, thing is that I learnt a lot today actually, and how to manage the things. It's very difficult part. Everybody is carrying on with the lectures, learnings, and all that. But there is a bigger role to play in the backdrop. I thank one and all for humble presentations, and you taught us how to manage things in future. And thank you to Pramod sir, Rao sir, Kadas sir, Panir Selvam sir, Ranjit sir, uh, Anup sir, for inspiring us throughout our life. And today I learnt a lot how to manage the things. And anyway, we were physically managing the things, but there is a lot more to learn, where there is an intellectual is involved, and intellectual backout is very difficult to face. So you have been extraordinarily commendable, and more of it was a learning experience for me. Thank you, sir, for everything.
Okay, okay. So some technical issues. Anyway, our admin has allowed 5 minutes, and there are scholars. Well, Radhanath Bera sir even wanted to say something. Let us allow him, because this is the day where everybody should speak. Okay, he wants to say something. He wanted to say something. Radhanath Bera sir, sir, please sir, wanted to say something. Last words, sir, if you are there. Yes sir, please welcome sir, please. Yes, yes sir. Please unmute sir. Yes sir. Thank you. Okay. Yes, sir. Please, Radhanath Bera, sir. You wanted to say something?
Sir, please unmute yourself, sir.
Please unmute, sir. Sir.
Sir, we are waiting you, sir.
We are
Radhan,
waiting
sir.
for you, sir.
We are waiting you.
Radhanath Bera, sir. Yes, sir. No, we are not able to listen to what you are saying, sir. Please. Sir, please unmute, sir. Anyway, sir. Okay. Okay, because he's having some technical issue. Um, there are people who wanted to speak, but we are running short of time. Um, Sir Radhanath Virashar, sir, please, you want to say something, wanted to say something, and we don't want anybody, we don't want to ignore anybody, we don't want to obstruct anybody from speaking today, because today is the celebration day, it's an academic celebration, and we want suggestions from you. Please, sir, yes, yes, sir. 5 minutes are allowed by our admin. Anybody who wants to speak, who has not spoken, Deepalin Raut or anybody? Yes, nobody. Okay, anyway.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Uh,
yes.
Namaskar to everyone.
Hmm.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible. Audible. Carry on, please.
So congratulations to philosophy family, especially to the admins, and as well as it is time for solution for all of us for the complete philosophy fraternity, that whether or not we are local or national, slowly going to be international, we are celebrating the culture, the academic culture of flourishing philosophy, from the young minds to the nurtured minds. Nobody is left out, and means I feel honored that I'm part of this family in this profession also. And if by listening to everyone, I'm also motivated, and hoping to give like talks, or my contributions to the family if I could, and hoping to learn from everyone. So knowledge is not confined to people like to only professors or lecturers. We should be open to even young students, and philosophy family has been doing that so dedicatedly, so devotedly, and I feel means lot of thanks and congratulations to everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Deepalin Rao. Well, Radhanath Bhera, sir, final words. Yes, then we'll move to our for final vote of thanks. Well, Radhanath Bhera, sir, please.
Dr. Rao, am I audible?
Yes, sir,
Am
you're
I
audible.
audible?
Audible, sir. Audible, sir. Carry on, sir.
Am I? Okay. One or 2 minutes. 1 or 2 minutes, please.
Okay, sir. Carry on, sir.
Please pardon me. I have been listening to all the suggestions raised by our esteemed, esteemed professor. I just wish to add one thing. We had a role model in Dr. Radhakrishnan, the Plato's philosopher king. He was well versed with the Indian as well as the Western side of philosophy. He used to comment, philosophy in India is essentially spiritual, to which Bertrand Russell said, Western philosophy is essentially scientific. So if you want to join the two, bridge the two, and not raise walls confining each within their own territory, it is a great achievement of all the family of philosophy. Professor C.S. Dodd used to connect East and West in a sense that he said only Radhakrishnan could be the bridge builder between the East and West. So he is a role model. So let us not confine ourselves to our TV rooms, shut ourselves within where the whole humanity is progressing, moving very fast. So let us uh, take a pledge that this philosophy of India is no more confined to religion or spirituality or metaphysics, or the philosophy of the West need not be confined to scientific inquiry. Let us take a part of it and part of that and bridge and make a whole of the philosophy family because knowledge is never indivisible. You cannot divide it. It is always indivisible. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Behera, for your words. Well, we are running short of time. We should have gone still long, but it is already 9:50, 9:30. So I request Dr. Kailash Mahana to have his words and also propose a formal vote of thanks. Thank you. Thank you all.
Okay, thanks so much, Dr. Rao. Now it's my turn to propose a vote of thanks. And but before I do so, I would like to tell the distinguished gathering that I derived some personal benefit while coordinating this program and by attending the gathering. I have learned so much things from our learned participants and particularly from our chief guest, Professor Ponir Selvam sir. And there cannot be perhaps a great honor for me than to present or propose a vote of thanks to all here on the auspicious day of our fourth annual day. Really, it is a great celebration. It is a day of taking a promise to our future individual. It is a day of taking place, as Professor Radhanath Behra sir say, it is a day of looking at our start. It is a day for looking at the future philosophical reflection that we have cherished. And indeed, it is a memorable day, not for me, but for all the viewers present here. And today, it opens a new era in the progress of the philosophy that philosophy family has promised to take. So today, we have listened the valuable suggestions from our learned professors, participants throughout our country. And really, we are privileged to have this. And we have with us Professor Ponir Selvam sir, and he has a versatile mind. He's a great philosopher of our time. The way he looks philosophy and the way he wants to present new philosophical trends of our time is really praiseworthy. That we should learn from him. And today we are very lucky, we are honored to have him with us as the chief guest, as the chief speaker, or whatever you may say. So, on behalf of Philosophy Family, I extend my gratitude to Professor Ponir Selvam sir. So we request him to guide us in our future academic activities of philosophy, and he will guide us what kind of a discussion that we have to make in future times for the cause of the young scholars that most of the professors, most of the participants have suggested. And I would uh, like to thank our uh, participant, the great thinker, Professor Dr. Alok Tandon sir, the way he advised us to overcome the religious philosophical discourse and to take philosophy in a new trend towards a new trend. We extend our gratitude to him. We extend our gratitude to Professor Ranjit Ghosh sir for suggesting the new area to take new areas of philosophical speculation in philosophy family, and he had suggested to be with in pan-Indian forum of thinking, and to to take philosophy pleasurable, to make philosophy pleasurable. He has suggested, he's a regular participant, he's a guide, and he has suggested us to discuss philosophical forum, to discuss any topic in philosophy family, so that the webinar can be more pleasurable. And we have listened Shastritha, that who had suggested uh, on the application-based subject, application-based topics in philosophy family. We have listened Professor Radhanta Behera sir, who had suggested a lot, and last who has also taken, who has suggested to make us to be role models. And Harman's Mishra sir had suggested a lot that we have to go to the classical textbooks. The classical text should be honored and should be discussed in the philosophy family, and in connection with NEP 2020. Professor Baraji has given his way of thought as, as it is his philosophy, that he has suggested to take new dimension of philosophy in connection with world religions. And Dr. Jayanti Sahu, madam, has also suggested us to discuss Indian philosophy and Western philosophy in the proper forums, and one should not be ignored without the other. Professor Amita Balmiki madam, has suggested that how Indian knowledge system would be better discussed in philosophy family, and it should be done in the form of reconstruction, deconstruction of Indian philosophy with its analytical and critical approach. So, uh, I, on behalf of philosophy family, thank for his noble ideas, noble suggestion for philosophy family. We have listened to Venkat Rao sir, the way he suggested us that Indian knowledge system should be discussed for young students, for a younger generation. And he has suggested more things that we have to follow. Professor Srinivasan Krishnamurti sir is a regular participant in philosophy family. He has introduced so many professors to philosophy family, and he has discussed to take multidisciplinary research in philosophy family, new ways that should be discussed. Professor Nandagopal Vishwas from Chennai had suggested a lot that he could be given as many as tasks, so in order to explore Indian philosophy to be discussed in proper forums. We have listened Chiara, and we have blessings to Chiara for the future endeavor, future success. And Durga Madam is there. That is she's from Tapas Yogosara, and she suggested how philosophy can be explored in the practical ways, and she has suggested the practical guides, and she's there to provide any kind of help, any kind of academic need or academic support in order to make the webinars very fruitful and memorable. And we have listened Professor Panir Selvan sir, the way he discussed. Lastly, he discussed that philosophy is philosophy. Philosophy is philosophy, and philosophy has to be encouraged. It has to come down to the young scholars, and the young scholars should be encouraged to learn different texts of philosophy. It may be Indian philosophy or Western philosophy, and the way he announced and pronounced Utkal model philosophy, the analytical model that he could take the names of Ganesh Mishra, Professor Krishna Prasad Mishra, and others that has encouraged, that has inspired us to take more analytical studies, that to run an Indian philosophy. Indian philosophy has to discussed in the way of Western philosophy, that Professor Ganesh Mishra has taken logical linguistic model in order to understand Indian philosophy, and so that Western philosophers Western philosophers would know that what Indian philosophy is, and how Indian philosophy that is not connected is not connected with any kind of mysticism and dogma. So, and and Dr. Jayanti Priyadarshini had suggested so many things that we have listened, and we have listened on the views of Anup Shah, Vishnu Chaudhary Shah, Rina Madam Shah, Ambika, Deepali, and others. They have suggested good things for the promotion of philosophy, philosophical thinking for the new generation, for the new scholars, and most of the audience, most of the viewers, they have suggested how philosophical thinking, philosophy reflection be more pleasurable for youngsters. And the organizers should take care of that. And we are depending upon the guidance of our senior professors like Ponir Selvan sir and others, those are with us. So we request them to guide us in future activities, so that the philosophical reflection, the philosophical activities of philosophy family would be excellent, and would be promoted and living, that is for the younger generation. With this, once again, I bow down before Apanir Selvan sir for his long presence with us, for his patience bearing with us, and for all the senior professors that they have with us. The Dipali is with us, she has suggested at last. So we extend our gratitude to all the viewers, all the participants to be with us. They have made this program, made this webinar, made this celebration memorable and meaningful. We are really grateful to all of you. And with this, I extend my gratitude to Professor Pramod Kumar Das, Dr. K. Omanan Rao, the way they have made the program successful by inviting Professor Ponir Selvam sir, and by connecting their philosophical reflection with all of us. Thank you so much. And I would like to request Dr. Pramod Kumar Das to wind up this session.
Thank you so much, Dr. Maharana. We also thank you for your contribution to Philosophy Family. Well, living back the tradition, well, we have Juha, because the thing is, she's the youngest scholar. Okay, she's in undergraduate course, as Pramod Das sir has said, in the first year. Let us not think of the tradition. After vote of thanks, no discussion. No, we are not discussing, but just tradition should be broken sometimes to get good things in. So may I request Juha to speak few words, one or two lines, three lines, four lines, in a minute or two. Juha,
Thank you
please.
so much. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I'm deeply honored to receive this recognition and to be appreciated by such esteemed philosophers and professors. I mean, this acknowledgement means a great deal to me, and I'm incredibly grateful for the support and guidance that I've received today. I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks to Pramod sir and Hamid sir and all of you actually for not just sharing your knowledge but also inspiring me and motivating me to strive for excellence. I really look forward to continuing to learn and grow and making meaningful contributions in the future. I really thank you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Juha.
Thank you,
Well,
Joel.
thank you, Juha. Well, over to Professor Das. Sir. Acha.
Thank you
Okay,
so
okay,
much.
okay. Good news. Good. It's good. Good going. Congratulations, Juha, that
Thank
you
you
have
so
been able to
much.
Congratulations,
work out
Joel.
the
Hey,
test.
congratulations, Joel.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. So with these words, congratulating Juha and thanking everybody. Well, let us move to declaring the meeting closed.
Yes, yes. With a deep sense of gratitude, now the session is declared closed. Thank you all. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank
Grateful,
you.
grateful.